Christmas, we live, bitches!
Coming soon to the theater.
Whoop, whoop.
It's alive. It's moving. It's coming this way.
What is up, everybody? It's your boy, Brian, back for another episode of Horror Movie Club, the club where, what do? We talk about horror movies, of course. Format of the show, if you've never been here before, if you've never checked us out, is we basically agree to watch a horror movie. It's always something that's not behind a paywall, so it's usually something that's on a free streaming site like Tubi, which, shows the movies with commercials, but they're unedited. So you get all the gore and, the 3 Bs, as Joe Bob Briggs likes to call them. Blood, boobies, and beasts. Anyway, a lot of people get on my case because I do a lot of obscure movies on this stream because I want to introduce you to, like, horror films that you might have missed, right? But people get on my case because they want me to do more mainstream stuff. So this week I'm doing something very mainstream. In fact, we're doing Freddy versus Jason. Now, if you've never seen the movie before, link is below in the description. Like I said, we always have the movie linked in the description, so you can watch it before the stream, or you can, if you have never seen the movie before and you think to yourself, "Damn, that sounds pretty dope. I want to check that out." Links in the description where you can watch it for free. Anyway, let me bring on some of my co-hosts. We got my man, Pops Van Zandt. How you doing, Pops?
It's all action, brother. You know what's up.
All action.
Great movie, great choice. Didn't even have to watch it because I remember it.
Okay.
So, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you guys know my sponsor from the Laughing Road, Chris Brown.
Man. Yeah.
And he was like, "Man, this is one of my favorite movies. Can I come out?" Hell yeah, you come out. So
hell yeah.
He's here.
Excellent. Yeah. As a matter of fact, let's bring him on. What up, Chris?
Chris, you're muted.
That's my way. Yeah, I'm married. I'm used to being muted.
Oh, snap. Happens to the best of us, brother. It's all good.
Yeah.
What up, Slipstick? What up, everybody in the chat?
Yeah, I actually just broke this out and watched it again today. I'm like, man, it's been like months since I've seen it.
So this is like a perennial favorite of yours. This is like one of those movies you watch at least like once a year?
Yeah, easy. Yep.
Gotcha. Yeah, I actually hadn't seen it since it first came out, but I remember when it came out, and I remember enjoying it and thinking, like, that was cool.
Mm-hmm.
And, but yeah, I mean, we are going to get into it. Also, we got Jeff in the house. What up, Jeff?
How's it going, everybody?
It's going okay, man.
How's the sound?
A little bit of ambient
right.
fan stuff, I think, going on.
Yeah, the fan is like right there. There's 3 of them.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I just got done watching the movie, though. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
It's the first time I've ever seen it, and I like the twist at the end. Of course, they keep it going. They got to keep it going, and there's just a lot of the standard, just the standard ingredients that go into every one of these things. They were just like, here's this and here's
Slasher
this.
Movie tropes.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, there had been talk about making this movie for a long time. It was one of those pictures that had been teased, really, but never actually seemed to materialize until much later. Now, the whole concept of the Monster Mash, of taking two franchises and mashing them together, the first case I think we ever had of that was the Universal monster movie, Frankenstein Meets the Wolfman, which is a personal favorite of mine. It was a childhood favorite. I mean, you grow up, you're a little kid, you're a hardcore reader of famous monsters of Filmland, other magazines like Castle of Frankenstein. I was building the Aurora monster model kits and everything. So what's better than one monster? Two monsters. And hopefully they're going to beat the crap out of each other at some point.
This wouldn't be any fun if it was a team up.
No.
I think it lasts a half hour. These kids are so stupid. It lasts a half hour.
Yeah. Well, more recently, this is a tradition that goes back to like the 1940s, but more recent versions, Aliens versus Predator. There hasn't been a movie yet, although I think there certainly should be, of a RoboCop versus Terminator.
Yeah,
which was an incredible 4-star quality comic book by Frank Miller and Walter Simonson. But there were a bunch of video game adaptations of that. But we have yet to get a movie because you have different studios that own the rights, and I think that's one of the reasons why it took so long to get Freddy versus Jason made, is because of legal issues. And
Chris can tell you a little bit about trying to get licensing from people like this for his games. He went through all that.
Oh man, I can imagine. What do you got to say about that, Chris?
Well, it actually is. I wanted to get Freddy and Jason for Slaughterville because, I have a slasher and I have the Dream Demon. Okay.
Yeah.
But it's at a point where the creators of Jason don't know who owns it. Nobody can agree on who owns Jason, so that's why we are in limbo on ever licensing an official Jason thing.
So it's not officially, because I would have thought Sean S. Cunningham, who directed the original movie, but then it's not like he made that film alone.
Right, and that's the argument. Who really owns it? So that there's a legal battle in between the creators, and that's why this was supposed to be part 1. Then it was Freddy, Jason, Ash for part 2. Unfortunately, we're not getting. Yeah.
Well, we might still get it. You never know. I mean, Bruce Campbell is still kicking it.
The chin is alive.
The chin is alive. And, would people want to see like an old broken down Ash fight Freddy and Jason? Yes.
Right.
As long as he's imbued with powers to suspend
Of course. Well, yeah. He's got mad crazy skills and a chainsaw for a hand. So,
and hey, you could always give him a sidekick like Daryl.
Yeah, and I've seen the Evil Dead show. I mean, Ash for the new one on Showtime, and he still kicked it there.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen it, but I've heard great things about it.
Oh yeah, it's good.
I'm just not like the fan of that franchise the way that a lot of people are, because it kind of like went from straight up balls out horror with a little bit of humor to Evil Dead 2, where it was like mostly comedy but still some horror, and to Army of Darkness, where it wasn't even like horror anymore. And I understand, I'm not gonna hate on that franchise. I'm not gonna hate on people that hold it near and dear to their hearts. That's totally cool. It's just never been my thing. But
what about the remake?
Oh, I really enjoyed it. I really liked that.
Took it back to the gore fest.
Yes, and I mean, brutal gore in there. And the kind that you could feel too.
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't a big fan of that craze of reboots of classic 80s horror movies that started in, what was it, 2007, 2009? I think it was Michael Bay that was doing all those.
Yeah.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Hills Have Eyes.
I like that. I like the remake.
I liked the remake of The Hills Have Eyes. Actually, I thought that was really good. The remake of The Crazies I thought was pretty good. The Dawn of the Dead remake.
Halloween.
Yeah. Timothy Oliphant is one of my boyfriends.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I hear he's kind of I hear he's kind of a dick to work with, but he always plays that. There's Walton Coggins. There's a list. I'm not faithful. There's
I understand.
Yeah, there's
Dennis Miller. Role models or masculine role models, even as like older men. You know, you need to be able to look at a guy like Sam Elliott and be like, that's a man's man right there.
Yep.
Yeah. Or or if you're like me and you love like a lot of like Hong Kong cinema, Tony Leung, Chow Yun-fat, you know, those dudes who are just like certifiable G's. What up, Sim? If you feel like hopping in, hop in. If not, that's totally cool. Happy to see you in the audience, brother, man. But yeah, what was I gonna say about? When it comes to like the rights to things, there's this slasher game called Dead by Daylight, and they've got Michael Myers, the Shape. They call him the Shape too, which makes me really happy. They've got Pinhead, aka the chief engineer from the Hellraiser movies. They've got of course Leatherface from Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and man, that's a fun game. They don't have Jason Voorhees because Jason has his own game. There's like a Friday the 13th game. Right. But I got a feeling eventually they might get him because like that game is kind of like the king of its franchise, at least for the time being. Now, when it came to actually making this movie, the director that they got was a very unusual choice. It was Ronnie Yu. Ronnie Yu is a Hong Kong director who made some really great wuxia films in like the 1990s. Wuxia films basically are swords and sorcery and romance. And so really what he specialized in and which he exceeded in was kind of like epic fantasy romance. And so, like a lot of directors that, make these incredible films overseas, they get recognized by Hollywood, they get noticed, and they get, brought over to Hollywood, and then Hollywood doesn't know what to do with them. And so with Ronnie Yu, I was like, oh, wow. It's like they've seen like The Bride with White Hair, which is one of my favorite movies. And like, maybe they want him to do something like that. No, they want him to do Bride of Chucky, right? They want him to do Freddy versus Jason.
Yeah.
Brian,
go ahead, brother. Tonight's format is like you've been trying to move into the little bit, make sure you're highlighting somebody and promoting their campaign.
Hell yeah.
So we do have a guest for tonight, you guys.
Yes, we do.
Okay, so after we cover the movie, we're going to talk about somebody's campaign. You want to go ahead and introduce that guy, Brian?
Absolutely. Folks, we have an indie comics legend amongst us. We have an indie comics icon with us. It is none other than Hart Fisher. What up, brother? Thank you so much for joining us this evening.
Whoa, let me go down to the bottom.
Oh, it's my pleasure to be here, guys. It's my pleasure.
Awesome. Yeah, he's got a campaign that we're going to be taking a look at after we discuss the movie. Now, Hart, have you seen this movie? Have you seen this by any chance? I mean, I'm guessing.
I'm a good fan. I saw this movie at the movie theater in Los Angeles.
Oh, hell yeah!
Nice.
Hell yeah! And actually, you know what?
I enjoyed. I thought it was.
Let me see if I could find. One of the things I always do is I'll snap. I think you're roboting a little bit there, brother.
fuck?
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah, it does.
It's a shame.
I just want him to know that he's robotic.
Mm-hmm.
He lives in a haunted house. This happens all the time, Brian.
For real?
For real.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's probably a few of
Yeah,
those
I
out
do.
there.
Because I know people who have lived in haunted houses before, and I'm one of those guys that has never had an encounter with the supernatural or with ghosts, but I know too many people who have to discredit the idea.
Yeah.
And I had a teacher, as a matter of fact, who very casually mentioned in a class that she had a ghost that lived in the attic of the house that she and her daughter inhabited. And but I'm getting off topic here. But yeah, Hart, of course, is best known for doing the Jeffrey Dahmer book back in the 90s and causing a fuss, shall we say. Just a little one. Just a teeny little one.
Well, I'm trying to switch over here to. I'm coming through as robotic, but I'm having a hard time getting into StreamYard. StreamYard through Chrome isn't allowing me to access my camera.
Really?
Well, we can see you.
We can see you, brother.
Well, it's because I'm in the other thing. Hey, Abby, would you hand me my headphones and earbuds? Let's see if that'll help.
Yeah.
Well, you said haunted house. Okay, let's get into the haunted house. When we say haunted, let's say we're shooting an interview and the house ghost does not like how the interview's going. Well, friends, the ghost has sucked battery, camera drop, has made it so that the playheads wouldn't work. The ghost made it so when we put in the cameras, none of the recording would work. The lights would come in or out depending on which, lavalier mic, the wireless microphones. Doors would open on their own. And we're talking about big, heavy, 50-year-old actual wood doors that I had to pick up, ka-chunk, to get them to shut. And so here in Wisconsin, where I'm living, the house I was at in Williams Bay was definitely on mother, my guest, like Max DeVille from C Press. We've been working together for about 7 years over at my house in Williams Bay. And frankly, every ever in her life with me was in, there's a thing you'd hear
like that
right behind you. There'd be 3 knocks. And would have not gonna.
I would shit myself with fear, man.
So right behind him, he hears. Yes.
Oh yeah, he's going into that big time now.
And he's like, what? And so since he's been with me, and the thing that sucks is they were really fucking with my internet.
I think they're fucking with you right now, brother.
I was gonna say.
Ghost, please, give Hart.
Let the man talk.
Let the man talk.
Let the man talk.
He's not going to disrespect you. Don't disrespect him. That sounds like some poltergeist activity.
You guys chat for a second. Let me see if I can get this mic, this camera.
We're going to go ahead and cover the movie, and then we're going to cover
really is than that too. Hold on, I'm going to leave the studio and come right back out of here.
You got it, brother. Don't worry, we got you. We'll keep your seat warm.
Brian, take the show over, get the movie covered, because he ain't never going to stop. I'm just
It's all good.
I love that dude.
No,
you know what I'm saying?
And much respect to him too. But one of the things I always do is like a quick search of Tay interwebs, and look for interesting things. And one of the things I found was the Freddy versus Jason weigh-in in Las Vegas. Did you guys see this?
No,
I never
seen
did.
this. What?
Let's take a little look at this. Now, for those of you that are new to the stream, whenever I play clips, I have to stop them periodically. Otherwise, we will get yanked off the air. So
every 20 seconds, we have to pause and talk.
Yeah. So maybe I'll just scat. Go skip it up and up. Well, either way, let's take a look at that because this looks pretty dope.
Is there any audio, Brian?
Is there any audio? Yeah. Well, I mean,
damn, I was gonna make my own.
Dude, Michael Buffer, the Buffster, is of course there. So we gotta have the audio on.
I was gonna say I was gonna make my own up.
Okay.
Can you see a wrestling promo by one of these guys?
Oh, hell yeah. Without a doubt. Well, I mean, Robert Englund is actually there for this. I saw that much.
Movie fans and fight fans of all ages.
Nice.
Let's get ready to rumble! Introducing first.
Yeah, they did this up right.
First, to my right, with over 1,000 career kills, he's come back to life 7 times.
7 times.
Hailing from Elm Street, the man with the killer right hand, the Springwood Slasher, Freddy Krueger.
I love that they got the robes, that they got the boxing robes.
It's really great.
Yeah, it is.
Hi, Matt.
Now,
Robert, up, Matt.
to my left, his opponent, over 12.
Yeah, brother, we're just taking a look at this clip I found.
Oh, I remember this.
See, I never saw this before. This is totally new.
I know all about what you want to know all about.
100 kills, 10 times resurrected, and he's got one mean.
Oh, they even have the music actually from the movie.
It's great. Prison guards in the background.
I know. Well, yeah, ready to jump in case shit gets out of control. You have to pry them apart.
Brought out by Paul Bearer.
Tower of Power, Dixon
Great.
Now, this is not Kane Hodder.
No.
Kane Hodder is not in Freddy vs. Jason. I know a lot of people were upset about it, but the actor that is in the role is, I don't know. The dude's obviously taller and even more ominous looking, I think.
He's Superman.
Gentlemen, please, at this time, we would like to have the weigh-in. Could you please step
Oh, shit. Hold them apart. Stare down. He's just staring straight into his chest. Do you even know the weigh-in?
He's holding his hand on the scale.
Yeah, man.
Krueger, 174 3/4 pounds.
Well, one thing about Robert Englund, he always gave me the impression of a guy that really lucked out,
Yeah.
and knows it, and just
Luke Skywalker.
Yeah.
What was that?
Luke Skywalker.
What, he was up for this Luke Skywalker role? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, sir.
Freddy Krueger. Jason Voorhees, 275 pounds.
Now, shouldn't he have to put the machete down first?
Well, he didn't have to put his claws down.
Yeah, good luck getting out of his hands,
Controversy
obviously.
about your training methods. How do you respond to that?
No comment.
Also, I have to say, it's like the same makeup that's from the movie,
Yeah.
which is really cool. I mean, his head looks like shoe
come on.
leather.
If you paid Buffer to come do this, they went full budget on this little clip, dude.
Yeah. Well, if they hadn't that's the thing about him is he's that guy.
He's high dollar though. Yeah, that's what I mean. If you've spent that much, then they went all out on everything else. That's what I'm saying.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
Buffer ain't cheap.
No. But he's also in a position where it's like if they didn't get him, it would just be like it wouldn't be as official.
Nope.
For yourself, hockey puck.
Senor Freddy, what do you anticipate will be your most difficult challenge in fighting Jason?
The reporter from Univision.
Waiting to see if this goalie here can find the ring.
Oh, that's Ronnie Yu sitting next to him.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Woody,
do you feel your ability to speak and thus talk trash gives you a distinct advantage in intimidating Jason before your big fight?
I don't need no stinking distinct advantage. If Mama's boy here, he's big, he's dumb, he's slow, he's stupid, and he ain't got no style.
Oh snap! Them's fighting words.
Place your bets, people. See you in the ring, Voorhees.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. Those are the official odds. Jason is a 2-3 favorite over Freddy, who is 7-5 as an underdog. Security.
So good.
Ladies and gentlemen, the press conference I believe
is.
is over at this time. We thank you for coming to Battles Las Vegas. Don't forget, it's going to be the rumble between Freddy versus Jason. August 15th. We'll see you then, everybody. Thanks for coming.
Fucking good.
I'm not gonna lie, that was dope. That was dope. Hey, welcome back, Hart. See, I had never seen that before.
Hey, good to be back, guys. I'm on. Yay. Hi, guys.
Yep.
Oh, we can hear you now.
We're all back.
Awesome.
Well, it seems like it always works better through Google Chrome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, StreamYards and Firefox don't like each other for some reason.
Yeah, it's because it doesn't
Yeah.
let you track as much. Like Firefox is harder for them to track your information and to spy on you. So, of course, they'd rather you go to the evil alphabet network of Google.
Yeah, that
course.
makes sense. That makes sense. Oh, and also, let me just introduce my co-host, Matt Butch Cleaver Burke. What are you doing, my
What's
brother,
up?
man?
How you guys doing?
Good, man. Good. Better now that you're here.
Oh, me too, man. I can't wait. I fucking love this movie. And that was Ken Creamsinger, I think. That was the stuntman for Christopher Lee for Superman. Super Duper Jason.
Really? No kidding.
Yeah, I fucking love this movie. Best movie soundtrack of all time. I don't give a fuck. I'll die on that hill.
It is
Repo
actually
Man, motherfucker. Let's brawl. Repo Man.
I mean, it's not like Ennio Morricone or something like that,
Yeah.
but it is actually really good.
Dude, if you're a fan of old horror, how about the soundtrack for Fear No Evil?
Yeah.
You probably don't know
The
that
Crow.
one. It's the early 80s. You can find it on VHS. It might have gotten a Vinegar Syndrome release.
Yeah.
Satanic
I
Horror
got it.
Song.
Hart, these guys
familiar.
are horror connoisseurs.
I love that movie.
Sounds familiar.
See, that's the kind of movie normally we would cover on this stream.
Yeah.
Right?
I just watched it with my friends the other night on VHS. I do a VHS horror night because my horror channel, American Horrors, that's our thing, is VHS style horror. So we play those kinds of movies. Like right now, finishing up on American Horror's classic is The Lost Tribe from New Zealand.
Oh, shit.
Wow.
Hell
Nice. Yeah, I mean, I gotta say, like, I have friends who are VHS maniacs. I personally, I'll take my 4K Blu-rays. Because for me, it's like a new way of watching old favorite movies. But what I always thought they should do is they should put out on every disc like 4 or 5 grades, right?
Yep.
And you can watch the version that you like. You go from
Now you're
like
talking.
4K, Blu-ray, DVD, VHS, Laserdisc. Put all that shit on there.
Why not?
Well, the thing is, it's like a painting. Like, okay, so there's this interest in comics now about process, right? Process. So they want to see the blue lines. They want to see the pencils. They want to see the inks. And that's how I feel about these movies because, I ran a film festival. I took a break this year to do more comics publishing, but I did the American Horror Film Fest. And what I really saw a difference is, I've got a good home theater setup. I've got a good setup, but I would get the submissions first and I'd watch them at home. Then we go to the theater for the festival and I got to see them in 4K. Like there's a movie you can see for free on Tubi called Girl Next. That's really awesome sex slave abduction movie. But it's good on the TV at home. But man, when I saw it in 4K on the big screen, or Scott Hansen and Desiree O'Connell's Bad Candy on the big screen. So I'm a fan of all of it. And when I say VHS, what I mean is this is how I saw it when I was 12. This is how I saw it when I was 13, and I had to hunt these copies of I Spit on Your Grave, the Japanese cut, at the Fangoria shows, and get like an offhand VHS. And so part of what American Horrors is my attempt to recreate my childhood of growing up 5 blocks from a grindhouse on the south side of Chicago called the Lyric.
Oh, you're so lucky. Oh my God. Yeah, and I get it. Like for instance, we have an Alamo Draft House like right across the bridge from me, right? In Yonkers. And they were showing Lucio Fulci's Zombie in like on celluloid. And Michael Gingold, who's guy who's written for like Fangoria and a bunch of other stuff, would do these nights called.
He's actually written several horror films. Michael wrote I think it's called Shadow Dead Riot about zombies in a prison, and it's pretty good.
Really? Yeah, I mean,
Michael Gingold. Yeah, Michael wrote a bunch of horror movies.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And it's got Tony Todd's in it, and a bunch of different horror people are in it.
Nice.
Oh yeah.
I gotta check that out. What's it called?
Yeah.
See, I take
it's
notes
called
during
Shadow Dead Riot. Yeah, I think it is like Shadow Dead Riot or something Shadow Riot. It's all about a zombie outbreak at a prison.
Oh, what's his face made a movie about
it's cool.
that.
You guys should definitely look it up.
Fricking John Saxon's one and only directorial venture actually is about a zombie outbreak in a prison.
Well,
I can't remember the name of it for some reason though.
When I was writing for Chaos, I wrote for Chaos Comics in the late 90s, and they did a character called Evil Ernie. And I wrote a character called Dead King, aka Homicide. And one of the things we were talking about doing was a zombie thing in a prison, and I was going to call it Pig House.
Nice.
But I didn't get to do that one, unfortunately.
Well, you know,
Andy,
you always resurrected. There's always the future.
I would watch that.
Yeah. Well, that's the great thing is I've been thinking about taking some of these old comic scripts and getting them in as movies.
Oh yeah.
Why not? It's worth a shot.
You know, a lot of the old like music you write or old stories you write, that shit fucking came from a place. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was talking to a guy about his music. Same shit, you know?
Absolutely. And the thing is, it's like with the experience that you have now, you can go back and take that primal energy and kind of fine tune it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you've learned so much in like the past 20, 30 years, you can, smooth out the rough edges, as it were. But I remember Michael Gingold coming into the Alamo Draft House, Yonkers, with the cans with Lucio Fulci's Zombie in it, and they looked funky. And the print that we watched looked funky. You could tell it was toe up. And I remember a friend of mine thinking like, I would have much rather have seen that in 4K. I'm like, I have the 4K Blu-ray at home, right? It's like we were there to watch that toe up print because it clearly was almost certainly the very same print that had been playing in like a New York City grindhouse in Times Square back in the Dizzy. And, you can practically feel like this, the floors are very clean at the Alamo Draft House. But that night, man, watching that movie, they felt sticky. You know, it's like sometimes you want filet mignon, sometimes you want a big greasy cheeseburger and fries.
Sometimes you want a hot dog, but you don't tell anybody about it.
The really cool. Did you put Irish cream in there?
Yes.
Hallelujah! Thank you. Here's to you, fellas. Thanks for getting me on the show last minute. I really appreciate being on here. And Brian, thank you for supporting the campaign. I really appreciate it. And if we're going to talk about Grindhouse Theaters, I want to give a shout out to the new owners of the Lyric Theater in Blue Island. They did $1 million renovation on my favorite Grindhouse Theater that I grew up with. It's now open. They're playing second-run movies. So if you're in Blue Island, Illinois, if you're in the south side of Chicago, I would urge you to definitely support the Lyric Theater, support what they're doing, and definitely support theaters in of themselves. There's so much that we could do to go out and like go see a movie, even if it's a matinee, because those guys are going to make money when you buy your popcorn and your soda. So go out and support these theater owners. Get out there and see stuff on the big screen. It's really important. Like Freddy versus Jason was made to be like Godzilla versus King Kong. And I thought it lived up to it. I'm surprised they haven't done more. Like, remember when they were talking about Ash? They were going to bring in Ash and Freddy and Jason. I'm like, yeah,
Pinhead. Dude. I was talking about Pinhead versus the Shape.
But that was the main. Sorry, that was the main motherfucker. That was Freddy versus Jason versus Ash. That was the next one. Like if you were to go and do that now, you could. They're already trying to get England to come back to do another one. I think he's down.
Oh,
but that would be the one.
Wow.
And get Campbell. Campbell's a hard one to get though. He's a hard one to get though. But if they could get them all to come,
I would like to see them bring back I'd like to see them bring the stuntman back from the reboot of Friday, Derek Mears. I would like to see them keep Derek on with Mason.
Oh yeah.
Now, I'm going to say I know Derek.
I love that too.
Personal plug. I know him from the martial arts world, from Judo Gene LaBelle and Gokor's Highest Down Academy, the late Gene LaBelle. He was a lot of fun to work with. Derek was always great to train with, always funny, a very intelligent guy. So I would love to see, because he added a grace to Jason that was lacking. The other guys are like big juggernauts, but when Jason was in that last one, he had grace.
Yeah,
you get what I mean? Like he moved better.
That was Proto Last Blood too. I'd like to add the survivalist Jason too. I mean, I mean
the traps and shit.
That has nothing to do with Derek, but I mean just the way they wrote him. But he's a great actor, man. And I still haven't seen Swamp Thing yet. He's Swamp Thing. He's the latest.
Yes, he's terrific in that. He's terrific in that. Because the guy's a genuinely really good actor. And damn,
he's a villain in this. He's a pretty good bad guy. There's a movie kind of like a Home Alone thing with the psychotic girl defending her house from these bad guys. And Derek is one of the main. I can't remember what it's called, but he did a great job at it.
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about, dude. And he's in a movie.
He's in Hatchet 3 as well.
I'm about to say he's in Hatchet 3.
Of course.
As like a SWAT team leader.
Yeah.
That guy's good at just great in everything that he's in. And now knowing that he like knows martial arts, I'll remind myself not to ever fuck with him. Like, what's worse than going up against a giant who knows how to fight, right?
It's like Paul Bunyan, dude.
He's a little bit, if I remember right, he's a little double jointed. So trying to do some of the jiu-jitsu and judo moves on him didn't work.
Because jiu-jitsu is all about bending people in ways that people aren't supposed to bend.
Yeah.
So somebody's double jointed, they're just like, go ahead, motherfucker.
Oh man, my kid's like that, man. It's like,
no shit. That's amazing. That's so cool. Now the guy that they got to play Jason in this is really good. Like I said, I know a lot of people got mad because it wasn't Kane Hodder.
It made that David and Goliath thing going too, though. You know what I mean? Because he was so tall and big, and he's Superman. You know what I mean? Freddy, he got little Freddy. You know what I mean? So it had
the dude's ominous.
It was very iconic. But yeah, I
did a good job. He did a very
This is my favorite.
job.
He never let go of that beer.
No, he's down. You know, he's on a party.
well, yeah. I mean, one of the first things you got to say. One of the first things we got to say about this movie is that. I think some people were a little too hard on it. I don't know what those people were expecting. It's like, what part of Freddy versus Jason don't you understand? Yeah. Right? You're not expecting
all the Godzilla movies. All the people that get all upset about this Godzilla movie, that Godzilla movie, and I'm like, hey, ladies and gentlemen, I grew up watching Spectre Man And if it's a rubber monster knocking down buildings, I'm friggin' happy. This is not Shakespeare here, people. This isn't Shakespeare. This is a popcorn movie.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
now
exactly.
that doesn't give something an excuse for being trash, because like you know, like I know a lot people who are like really crazy about the Transformers movies, and I'm just not into it. And they're just like, but it's giant robots beating. It's just giant robots beating the crap out of each other. It's like I'm down with that. I'm just not into like CGI robots beating the crap out of each other.
I kind of like the first one.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, I know.
I enjoyed that
that's,
shit.
That's all good. That's all good. Like I said, it's
Tony
just,
Todd
you
was
know,
good in the
not my
second
cup
one.
of
He was
tea.
all right.
Did you say Tony Todd was in the second Transformers movie?
That's what's up.
Really? I had no idea. Damn, I actually might watch that.
Get in there type shit.
That. Damn. But the plot to this is actually, I think, it's completely daft, but it's also, I think, actually pretty clever, right? Now, it opens in a really clumsy way, because it opens with a voiceover of Freddy explaining the plot to you. And that breaks the golden rule of show, don't tell. And it's clumsy, unnecessary exposition, whatever. It's totally forgivable.
It's because the producers of the film think horror fans are stupid, just like when they released Dark City. Do you guys remember Dark City with Kiefer Sutherland? It's supposed to start off with a mystery. And they had the voiceover with Kiefer Sutherland explaining the whole damn movie, but it's supposed to be a film noir. It's supposed to be a mystery. And the director was a guy who did The Crow, and it's a great movie, but you've got to see the director's cut. If you've never seen Dark City, you must see the director's cut, and don't read anything about it, God damn it.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm going to watch that director's cut, because I've seen,
Yeah, no, I mean, I saw it in its initial theatrical release and really enjoyed it. But yeah, I mean, if you watch any mainstream movie these days, there's always a scene. I mean, you even get this with the Christopher Nolan movies, right? Which are high IQ for like big budget mainstream stuff, right? There's still always a scene in the Christopher Nolan movies where somebody stops, where the action stops dead, and a character or characters have to explain the plot to the audience.
Yeah.
They have to catch you up.
I think what you're mixing up here is you're mixing up high concept versus high intelligence. Altered States with William Hurt, that's high intelligence.
Yeah.
And Ken Russell, fantastic film. The Devils, that's a different brain.
Oh my God. Yeah.
This is high concept. This is like, well, it sounded great in the pitch room, but we got to make sure the morons that are going to talk about this on Rotten Tomatoes understand, because now we're talking about the moron population that likes Dukes of Hazzard. So we got to make sure the morons are into this, and the people that are going to talk online, well, we got to say, well, we told you all about it. We told you all.
Yeah. You know, Hart, I'm glad that you said that. I'm glad that you said that, because that's the impression that I had. But then I'm like, maybe that's my imagination. But that's what it felt like to me. It's like, okay, well, you're stupid, so we're going to explain this to you very carefully. We're going to talk real slow because you're a horror fan and you're not that bright.
Forgetting, of course, that ironically the horror fans are the ones that go to each one of these things no matter what.
Yeah. And, you know, I mean, it breaks also the rule of always assume that your audience is as intelligent as you are. If not, if not more. But the plot itself is actually pretty clever, because I remember thinking, it's like Freddy versus Jason. How do you get a fight between what is essentially a ghost or an evil spirit well,
they're both kind of ghosts. They're both kind of evil spirits, but one is in flesh and has been resurrected in the flesh, and the other is a spirit in the mind, and it is a non-physical entity. If we're going to get into supernatural, you're talking about like Jason has a body that's animated. Essentially, now he's a zombie. Zombie.
Superman is real and Mighty Mouse is a cartoon.
Because I hated the way they resurrected him with the lightning bolt in the chest and the grave, and I hated that. I couldn't stand that at all. I also don't. Okay, the idea of explaining it all, like explaining, okay, what is Michael Myers? He's the shape. He's a mystery. He was a good boy, a nice boy, and one day he carved up his sister and cut off her tits, and they don't know why, and that's what's scary. What's scary is they do not know why. And then in the modern age, they've got the pyramid of he tortured cats, he set fires, his parents are white trash, and there was no mystery anymore. And of course, he's a giant man. Now he's a giant now. And so that to me killed what made him scary. It killed it. The fact that you didn't know why he was
zombie Halloweens. I refuse to watch them.
I will say I enjoyed the first one in the theater for the visual, but then when I watched it at home on TV, I didn't like it at all. And then I didn't like the sequel at all. And then the reboot that they did with David Green and what's his name, the comedian
Danny McBride.
Yeah, Danny McBride. I thought I liked it.
The first one was good. One was good.
I liked the other one too. I didn't hate it as much as everybody else did, but when I went when we did the film festival, the 5th one in 2021, Halloween was out. So we're doing the American Horror Film Fest in Lake Geneva, Wisconsin, and we have our own theater playing our films. And what we saw was, as we're hanging out in the lobby and shooting our interviews and stuff, everybody coming out of Halloween Kills was pissed. Everybody. There wasn't one person that came out of that screening and said, "Oh, this was fantastic. Wow, that was great." There wasn't one. So when I saw it at home, I was expecting garbage because, frankly, I don't enjoy the Halloween film. I like Halloween 1, Halloween 2, and I enjoy Halloween 3 as its own thing. Yeah. I actually enjoy Friday the 13th better than Halloween. I like it better. I enjoy Friday the 13th more than Halloween. I'm way more invested.
Yeah, me too.
See, I was never.
And the character's more dynamic.
Well, I mean, I was never. Well, of course, because the shape's
like Freddy the most
defining characteristic is emptiness.
Yeah.
Right? The whole idea of evil as not a quality, but a lack of qualities. Right? An absence of good.
It's a vacuum. It's a void. Hollow.
Right. That's the point. Right? You look at his eyes and they're like dead eyes.
I think the word is just absence. Right. It's an absence.
Yes.
Great voice.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. And that's why the mask.
Isn't that what Donald Pleasant like? I looked at his eyes and I saw nothing. I saw nothing in his eyes.
Yes.
Michael.
Yes. Now you see.
It was
Michael.
Now you see they wanted Peter Cushing for that part, and the fact that he turned it down, I think actually worked out well. I actually think that that Donald Pleasance is that is a much better Loomis than Cushing would have been. But the great tragedy for me is that Cushing turned down Fright Night.
Yeah.
Which would have been like the
Peter
perfect
Cushing is
swan
in this
song.
area. It's a certain
Oh shit! The ghosts are at it again.
Ghost got him.
Ghost got him.
No, I'm going to disagree with you guys on that because if you're a fan of Peter Cushing and watch him all the time, he's very unflappable. He's unflappable. The same character, he's dry. So Roddy McDowell's performance Fright Night added a layer of fear that you never have gotten from. Would have gotten that layer of Pleasance in Halloween. Your hysteria of you don't know that he's not on. You know what I mean? You're Cushing. I love. You wouldn't have got. It would have been flat. Go back and. I've been on a whole kick with Hammer Films and too.
Oh, dude!
It's
I'm a Hammer stan.
Like you said, films that I grew up with in 4/3 after school, and now I get to see 4K.
Yes. Yeah, I know, and it's the best time ever to be a horror fan for that reason. Real quick, gotta show off.
Is the film culture of all these theaters? So we have
man, never fails. Never fails.
It's a Cushing.
Or you might want to try going out and coming back in because the robot taking over your machine again.
Great.
Yeah.
Don't worry, brother. We got you back. But
like what he was saying earlier, it is when they took that mystery away, it's a lot like when they revealed the Predator. He's not scary anymore.
Correct.
You know.
Well, yeah, but at the same time, you could Hart was talking about how nobody liked Halloween Kills, and I was kind of I watched it and I thought it was all right. And my main question for the people that were upset about it was, what part of Halloween 14 don't you understand?
That was okay.
Do you know what I'm saying?
This
Like,
scene
you're
right
like
here where dude gets bent all up backwards. I love that shit.
Isn't that great? I know.
I like that.
In my opinion, it's the characters, like the disposable characters, are just as much a part of the movie. Like they're like the seasoning. You know, this one is just kind of person, and of course, all the girls have fantastic boobs. And you know, you can always tell who the heroine is because you never get to see hers. But like everybody else is just, you know, this is gonna die this way, this one's gonna die that way. I thought the magazine
girl by the lack of boobage.
Yeah. She's gonna make it. I can tell.
Yep.
Right.
The one that don't put out. That's the one that's good.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, they kind of telecast that. You were 14. Who's the virgin?
Well, I mean, like, I didn't grow up. When I was a kid, coming up in the 80s, when I was a kid coming up in the 80s, I wasn't a fan of slasher films. I was way more, I don't know, a little bit of a snob. Like, I mean, the slasher movies to me, that's just like, oh, fucking die, big deal, right? I was a monster guy.
I wanted to watch Aliens and The Godfather. Anything that said adult like nudity and graphic violence, I'm like, gotta see it. And that's when HBO was like, you know, the guidebook was like that.
Right. But I remember, like, when Friday the 13th came out on VHS, and I rented it, and I was like, what is this? I wasn't into it, right? So I wasn't really into the franchise, but I have a friend who is like, Chris, by the way, if you're listening, big ups to you. Hope you're feeling better. He's got the Rona right now.
Oh, shit.
But he's like a major 80s like slasher fan. And so he got me to rewatch a lot of these movies and reevaluate them. And something like, for instance, Halloween Part 4. I mean, no, not what am I saying? Friday the 13th Part 4, you know, which was supposed to be Jason's. That's right. It was the final 13. Was that what it was called?
Yeah.
Right. You know, I rewatched that relatively recently, meaning like in the last year or two, and really enjoyed it.
Yeah, dude.
And all of the victims in that are really well written and well played. Crispin Hellion Glover, of course, is in that, doing this completely crazy dance.
Man,
back to the slash.
Hart, brother, I'm sorry, we can't hear you. You're roboting again, brother.
In and out, yeah.
So if I'm talking over you, if it seems like I'm talking over you, I apologize. I'm not doing that to be rude, but you're just like, you're freezing up, brother. Damn, and like with the Ghosts, were leaving him alone there too for a while.
Like for me, the Friday the 13th movies, I didn't really even like the first three, dude. Like I don't like it till Jason comes in full fucking zombie mode. You know what I mean?
I mean, I like
boring as fuck for me. Like straight up, I'm not gonna lie. You know,
I think two is actually like a proper horror movie. I actually liked 2.
They're good horror movies, but it's just once you once you taste that King Hodder sandwich, you know what I mean? Like this, there ain't no turning back, brother. And I got to come in full like franchise. You know what I mean? I didn't experience it from the get. You know,
which one had Corey Feldman?
Hart's getting frustrated, understandably. So.
Which one had the masks with the cable-controlled actuation?
Oh, you're talking about animatronics?
Yeah, but I mean, it was like the kid that was into it.
You're thinking of Part 4 where Corey Feldman whacks Jason in the side of the head with a machete, and the machete embeds itself in his skull, and he falls forward. And as he's falling forward, it's putting pressure on the hilt of the machete, and so it's just like biting deeper into his head as he goes down, and his face is moving. Because Savini came back for that one. Savini came back for that one because he did the first film, and he was like, "Well, you know, if I brought him into this world, I might as well take him out."
I thought Dick Smith did the Jason Voorhees makeup of the kid in the pool.
Did he?
Well, maybe just that one.
No, that was Savini.
Okay.
Yeah. Dick Smith, of course, the OG.
Yes.
The guy who Little
Big Man.
little big man, turned Dustin Hoffman into like a 80-year-old, 87-year-old man.
Yeah.
The Exorcist, of course, Taxi Driver.
He did not like De Niro.
There's Hart.
De Niro was too annoying. He was like, "Did you get all the eyebrow hairs just right?" It's like, you handled this guy.
It's fucking Dick Smith. You let the man do his job. That guy's a freaking legend. But he was the guy. Well, now about the gore effects in this, since we're talking about makeup effects, there is way too much CGI in this movie.
Yeah, but they were cutting their teeth.
Yeah.
Right. And the CGI, since this was like what, 2003?
It was the aughts. It was the like we got CGI, woohoo, we're gonna put it in here type shit now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the whole fucking caterpillar with the bong.
Oh yeah.
But I fucking love that shit. You know what I mean?
It's okay. It's forgivable.
Check one. Can you guys hear me? Check one. Can anybody hear me? Check
there.
one. Check one.
Back. You're back,
sir.
brother.
Can anybody hear me? Check one. Check one. There we go.
Can you hear
Check one.
us?
Oh god, I had to reload the whole damn page.
Sorry, dude.
Ah,
Can I just
please sponsor films? God damn it.
Oh, for not. You know.
All right, so sponsor films.
Nothing can help
In the
you.
80s, they become generic.
Oh no.
Oh no! What a place to freeze too.
Everybody, get with me.
Sorry, it sucks.
Oh god.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, but
robot
Hart,
again.
try turning your camera off and just use the audio.
All right. What about now?
For the moment. Yeah.
But I did like in this one how they emphasized
in and out, man. In and out.
Oh, I feel horrible for him.
Chris, you were saying?
How they showed that Jason is your hulking monster, and they gave Freddy the lightning speed. They knew that Freddy couldn't take him physically, so they gave him the speed to dance around him.
That's what I like. That's what I tell myself when I'm faced with the prospect of going up against someone 3 times my size. I'll hit him in soft spots.
Right.
Like a butterfly.
Yeah.
And they had the fire-water dynamics in here, which I like.
I'll kick him in the nuts.
That was great.
The fire-water dynamic, right?
Yes.
Isn't that cool?
That was clever. That was
we tried
really clever.
fire. Now let's try water.
Yeah.
Right.
Fucking love this movie.
Now, let's talk about the plot here really quick, because the plot is actually pretty clever, right? The reason why Freddy Krueger, like I said, there's a stupid exposition at the beginning of the movie. If they'd left that out, it would have been so much better, because you would have discovered this, and it would have been like, oh, that's like, oh, okay. You know, I get it. This makes a lot of sense. The way that the people of the community where Elm Street is located, I forget if the town has a name, they've fought back. Springfield?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So the people of Springfield have fought back by erasing Freddy, by basically removing him from the records, not mentioning his name, and basically taking anybody who has had any kind of contact with him, like in their dreams or whatever, or if they know somebody, for instance, this character, his brother was murdered by Freddy, they just take them and they incarcerate them, and they feed them a drug, a make-believe substance, Hypnosil, that prevents dreams. And
unapproved by the FDA, which means it'll probably work.
Right.
The only part I really cringe at every time is when they're going, what does Hypnosil do? And they're actually looking at the web page for it, and it's in big bold letters what it does. And I'm like, that should have been an editing mistake.
Yeah. No, I mean, there are moments of this that are clunky for sure, but like this character says, they treat Freddy like he was a disease. And so, like, anybody that's had any contact with them just gets right. He says, like he says, we were in a fucking quarantine.
Yeah, it's like they're starving a fire, if you will, of its oxygen.
Yes. By the way, I love the Full
Metal van.
Frank Frazetta painting on the side of like the 80s of the 70s van. I remember these, man, as a kid. I remember seeing these. These were like discos on wheels.
Yep. I got one of those in my next book.
Yeah.
And also, another one of the things I like about this is the cinematography is really good. I love like the Mario Bava style colors.
Reds and blues.
Yes. And man, yeah. And I'm sorry, but how do you not get a horror boner, watching a scene where Jason just wades into like a crowd of youngsters and just starts slashing away at them while he's on fire?
Yeah, awesome.
that was pretty badass.
You never really did that before, right?
That was awesome.
Never.
Yeah.
And then like in Halloween Kills, they took a page out of that. You know, that's what I like seeing Michael do that as well. Like I ain't gonna get mad. Like he was gonna go fuck a bunch of motherfuckers up. Like,
oh no,
awesome,
I love that part of Halloween Kills when he
that's my favorite part. That in the end when they fought him in the street. Like I love that shit and making him a demon. I love that, or a spirit.
Yep.
I mean, it's a demon.
Yep.
Yeah, love this part.
Yeah, it's pretty badass. And also, that's another thing that we don't see really much in movies these days is an old school fire stunt.
Right.
See a lot of CGI fire these days. It looks like shit. That's a great shot. The aerial shot, the crane shot.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And there's
He's
a
like
bad
running.
CGI effect there. Right? I was like, oh man.
Fuck. It's so funny. It's pretty funny.
So I see this shot and I'm like, oh man, like, oh, that's lame. And then just like it more than makes up for that. I mean, what's worse than Jason Voorhees coming after you? Jason Voorhees on fire.
Yeah. Like they need to in order to suspend the suspense of they put him out with the beer just to keep us from thinking that that's impossible. You know, he's on fire. Well, he's also back from the dead. I know, but he's on fire. They're never going to believe it if we leave him on fire for too long. We better put him out.
That plus the fact that shots like this are very expensive because they're very time consuming. Yeah. That's why
gotta get it right the first time.
That's why they use so much CGI, especially these days, is because it's actually cheaper.
Mm-hmm. But it didn't used to be.
Complain about all those CGI movies because they're not as good as the live action is.
Right, because the real thing looks better because it's the real thing. So it looks more like the real thing.
It's wild. It's organic.
Funny.
Yes. Oh yeah. Then you got this guy, right? So he's going to be
John
the
Ritter's son right there.
lead.
Is it really?
Son. Yeah, Jason Ritter.
I was looking him up, but I only saw it.
Isn't he sexy? You can tell he's all sensitive.
He's one I wanted to die.
Yeah,
but you got Fargus in there from Christmas.
Yeah, Fargus. I was going to ask you guys.
But, hey, that remake or that sequel was decent. I watched it on the.
But to talk about like what a wet noodle this guy is, that was a thing that I noticed since I was a kid. Was that whenever you had like a monster movie, you always had the handsome, good-looking guy that was off to the side that you knew the heroine was going to end up with, and that guy was always boring as fuck.
Yeah,
bland.
Yeah,
and so that's why I didn't mind this guy because I thought that like this was actually kind of in that tradition.
Yeah.
But yeah, then you get you do get like some really good practical effects.
Yeah.
That definitely. Barely. You're roboting again, brother.
Yeah.
There's a hypnosol experimental drug. Suppress your dreams.
Suppress your dreams.
Now this I thought was really cool.
Yeah, right? It's a cool setup.
See, but you don't need a drug to suppress your dreams. All you got to do is wake up every 90 minutes. Set your alarm for 90 minutes. You never reach REM. You never reach deep sleep. You don't dream. It's real simple.
And then you know what happens?
You go insane.
Yeah, well, I've been living that way for about 8 years now, where I never get more than a couple hours sleep at a time. So,
right,
I'm doing the 4 hour
some
thing
REM
now.
sleep. You're definitely
doing the point.
I'm doing the 3 or 4 hour thing now.
Yeah, all the time. I've been doing that for a long time, man.
The rock star and a monster every day.
Sometimes I'll be out here at 3 in the morning and 4 in the morning, and I got to get up in a couple hours with the kids.
Yeah, I mean, I go insane. I go insane if I don't get enough sleep. I mean, like literally, like I go off the rails.
I forgot what enough sleep feels like.
Right, but
about
if
5 or 6
you
hours.
weren't dreaming,
that's a good
but
one.
if you, my homeboys, if you weren't dreaming, you'd start having hallucinations. It's like your mind starts dreaming while you're awake.
Yeah, well, who says that ain't going on?
Yeah, you're not really here, Pops. You're imagining all of us. We're not.
Dude,
We're not even.
We're figments of your imagination, bro.
Video game, and I'm gone, dude. You
know what? Let's take a quick look at the trailer for this, actually. Just to break it up a little. Let's see here.
Dude, this movie came out like everything hit, dude. Like,
so we don't get kicked off.
It was an awesome movie. Like, it had like my favorite band did like one of my favorite songs on the soundtrack. I was like, what? Like, it was just everything was hitting, bro. Like on all cylinders.
Which band? Which song?
In Flames, Trigger. And I was just like,
oh
this
yeah,
is fucking badass. And then I was like, dude, if they had like a badass fight scene, like a beat 'em up, I would love this. And then I watched like some of the I don't know what it was, and that's what happened. And then you get so much more.
Oh, it's
the fight scene's epic. It's too fucking good for like we did not deserve the fight scene that we got in this fucking movie.
No,
I'm sorry.
No, definitely not. Because if you
he's
look
fucking
at,
Freddy, like dropping big ass elbow.
Well,
like,
yeah,
dude,
that's
him,
because
like, dude, it's so cool.
Yeah, that's
so
cool.
Cool.
That's Ronnie Yu because
yeah.
Anybody that's been sleeping on Hong Kong action cinema from like the 90s, you need to go check that shit out because Hong Kong action cinema from like the late 80s into the 90s slaps.
I gotta go check it out.
It's incredible, right? And Hong Kong action films have always been 100 times better than American action films. Always. That's why I could never get into shit like Die Hard and that sort of thing when you've got like hard oil.
right?
You got John Woo. Who wants to watch that crap? When you do get to the fight, it absolutely over delivers. But let's take a quick look. Let's take a quick look at that trailer, and hopefully not get yanked off the air. We'll be careful. We'll be careful about it.
Gotta get a clicker every 20 seconds.
Well, it's just and it's fucking annoying because it's like, wait a second, we're playing. This is a commercial.
New Line Cinema, dude. Such a good era.
Now that
1984.
That's from a Pink Floyd record, right?
1984.
I don't know.
Nightmare began. 2003.
And in the 80s, I remember they did.
84?
What was that?
Today?
It's like there's a T-shirt that says "Make 1984 fiction again."
The legends come.
Yeah,
together.
you should.
Yeah.
One everyone.
Face.
Well, face the hockey mask.
Oh shit! Chris had to check out. He said, "Bye, everybody."
Oh,
later, brother.
Cool
hanging with you.
Peace out,
later,
brother.
man.
Yeah,
See you
man.
next time.
Good seeing you, man. You're welcome anytime.
Welcome to my nightmare.
Ding ding. That scene is so dope.
Oh, look at that.
Awake or asleep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Practice.
great.
Why won't you die? Freddy versus Jason.
Place your bets.
Yeah, this movie would not have been the same without that director. He added a lot to it. If you watch the
He
special
really did.
behind the scenes, that's what I watched. He was just talking about the blood. I wanted to make it like really dramatic. You know what I mean? And pertaining to
Hart
some of his
setting up his
influences of
phone.
his stuff.
Just so you know, Hart's setting up his phone so he can come back. Says he's having a really good time. He just wants to stay in there for a little bit, you know.
Yeah, he's
Oh,
got
no,
some
no,
good
of
points.
course.
He's got some good points.
Yeah, no, I love talking to
Dude,
that
got
guy.
he's a
respect for that
wealth,
guy,
one of
dude.
us.
he's a wealth
Yeah,
of
hell yeah.
information. He runs a freaking horror.
I know.
Oh yeah, that
You
dude's
know,
fucking awesome.
Yeah, and
I
horror
want him to come back.
festivals. That's
Yeah, I
my
know. I
kind
was
of
swimming
guy,
in the deep
dude.
end. He was talking. I was swimming in the deep end the whole time.
He was talking about some Peter
But
Cushing,
that's
like
okay.
and McDowell. I wanted to hear his point on that too. But
Yeah,
Yeah.
me too. Me too.
we'll get it. We'll get it. He'll be back. We'll get it.
What up, Hart?
he's back. Dude.
What up, Hart?
Nope. As soon as I get it set up, the camera starts falling over. Ah, Jesus
That's
Christ.
man.
Good.
That's how,
You did
that's how it
something to
works.
piss those ghosts off, bro.
Yeah,
All right,
that's how it works.
it's all good. We can hear you now. Shit.
Yeah,
Can you
man.
fucking hear me now? Jesus Christ.
You heard?
And can I just say I just want to apologize because I can't imagine how frustrated you must be, and then you're like frozen, pulling your hair out of your head, and I'm just talking, so I don't want you to think I'm being rude talking over you.
No, you guys weren't. You couldn't hear what I was saying. And I'm going, are they just ignoring me? Because I know I could be pretty loud and boisterous and like people talk like Ethan Van Sciver when I was on his show. He's like, I told you he's just like Howard Stern. And I'm like, kind of, yeah.
Meanwhile,
No.
Ethan's doing
Way
Howard
cooler
Stern.
than Howard Stern, bro.
Yeah,
Way
man.
Fucking cooler than Howard Stern.
Way cooler. We were just talking about like, damn, that dude's one of us, man. So yeah, go ahead.
I'm a huge horror fan, and this is my life, and I grew up with this, and I've got my American Horrors channel playing right now, and it's on all the time. Like, this is what I live and breathe, and being in Los Angeles, one of the best things, people want to talk shit about LA, but guys, ladies and gentlemen, I was able to be friends with 3 different dudes that played Leatherface. I was able to be friends with all these other martial arts people. I got to be friends with all these directors and hang out with Harry Manfredini, who did all the score, like for American Horrors. I did a show called The American Horrors Intermission. And on that, I'm interviewing people like Harry Manfredini on like, how did you come up with that score? And one of the things he talked about in the interview that I've never heard anywhere else is in Friday the 13th, the only time there's any score at all is when the killer is there.
I never noticed that.
It's only when the killer is around that the score perks in. And
Right, because that's kind of an indication that, right, and in the later films, that's always an indication that Jason's like in the immediate vicinity. Is that?
That's what I'm telling you, Hart is a wealth of behind-the-scenes information. Guys, you go out and talk.
Did you get to meet? Did you meet Bernarski, Hart? Did you meet Andrew Bernarski?
I was Andrew Marski's mini-me over at the Chiller show in New Jersey, and he was joking about how, why does my mini-me have better hair than me?
Oh, yeah.
So, and he's a Danzig fan, so I'm friends with Danzig, so I would run into Andrew behind backstage at all the Danzig shows.
Fucking Lobo, too, bro. That Lobo, dude.
Yeah.
That Lobo bit's pretty dope, man.
Yeah,
I thought Andrew was one of the best Leatherfaces out of a lot of the
my
guys.
favorite.
I mean, I liked R.A. Mihail, but I really liked Andrew's portrayal of him in the reboot with R. Lee Ermey. But I just want to get this one point in about slasher films that I felt was really like lost.
Please.
Okay, real slasher films are a mystery, all right? So in the 80s, what happened is people took the formula, and that's where you get an idiot doing The Final Girl. Hey, you start talking about The Final Girl, you're a moron, and you just told me you don't know shit about these fucking movies, because most of the killers in these movies are fucking women, goddammit. They're fucking women, okay? Who's the killer in the first Friday the 13th? It's a woman.
Yep.
Yeah.
His
Well,
mom.
I mean, it's basically a remake of the Mario Bava movie, Bay of Blood, a.k.a. Twitch of the Death Nerve.
Yes,
Right,
and then you could take it back to like, okay, the Red Queen kills 7 times, the night Evelyn came out of her grave. These classic giallo slasher films are all from the early to mid 70s, and then America started taking the formula, and that's when you started to get the thing like my little brother Adam Fisher. Adam liked horror films like I did, but he noticed in the 80s what they started to do was you started to get more of this politically correct stuff. The people that made these slasher films in the 60s and 70s, like, go see Private Parts. That's a very, very good, underrated slasher film.
Arts Hell, yeah.
Private Parts in this motel. And what you'll see is that the generation that made these films, just like Night of the Living Dead, just came out of Vietnam and Korea and all these wars. So they were more shell-shocked. They were more used to the country being destroyed by all the protest marches, the dissolution of our faith in our government from Watergate and the Nixon tapes, all the cover-ups, the Pentagon Papers. So that was a much different generation that made those films. In the 80s, you get the mollycoddled, things are going good in America. We just came out of this thing. Ronald Reagan came in. It's America again. And you get this generic, well, we can't kill anybody we like. So that's when you start to get, my brother called it, well, you've lined up everybody I want to die. And the way a death works in these films, where it works, is if you like the character. If you have an emotional interest in the characters, whether it's good or bad, you need that in a murder mystery. Because the best slasher films are a goddamn murder mystery. And that's why you should see Silent, what's the one, Abby, that we play all the time in the Silent House or Silent Hill? Not Silent, Silent Scream, which is a really good
Barbara Steele, my homegirl.
Or Mongrel, which is another great film from the directors of Howard the Duck and Messiah of Evil.
Messiah of Evil, which we covered on this.
Yeah, we just covered that not that long ago.
So the 80s is when you start to see it all become a formula. Here's the slut. Here's the good girl. And that's because of the producers, not the directors, not the writers. It's the money people that said, we need the formula and we need the cheeseburger. And for God's sake, don't put a jalapeno on that. Make sure it's only bacon.
Right. But we did get some great movies, like, nonetheless. Like, I watched The House on Sorority Row again just the other day. That's an amazing movie, right?
The first one, you mean, not the remake. The first one's really good.
Yes, the original, of course. Yeah. And by the way, just everybody out there, just assume. Hold on a sec. I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to get a little intense here. Everybody, if I'm talking about a film, just assume I'm talking about the original and not the remake. If I'm talking about Dawn of the Dead, I'm talking about fucking Dawn of the Dead by George Romero, okay? Just so you know. Right, okay. Sorry. I had to get that shit off my chest.
We OG around here.
I can't, tell me, Hart, how many times has this happened to you when you talk to, like, a younger fan, you talk to fans that are maybe don't know as much as you do, you don't want to be a dick because all that information that's crammed in your head, it doesn't belong to you, it's to be shared and not lorded over people. But when I'm having a conversation with like a younger fan or a more of a normie person, and we're talking about a movie, and then suddenly I noticed like they get this confused look in their eyes, and because I'm describing a scene to them that's not in the movie that they're thinking of, and I suddenly realize, I'm like, wait a second, are we talking about the original or the remake? And they look at me and they go, blink, blink, blink. That's a remake?
There's a remake?
Well,
no, that was a remake?
As a professional, Brian, I've been a horror professional for over 30 years now.
Hell yeah.
And as a paid horror professional, I've had to learn over time, like doing Boneyard Press, doing horror comic books, doing my first film, The Garbage Man, working in the industry. What I had to learn was that every horror fan is different and that their flavor depends on what they saw first. Like, what movie did they see first? Did they ever see the original Omen films before they saw Paranormal Activity? Did they ever see, The Entity, which is a great Barbara Hershey spooky horror film that's very disturbing.
Yes.
And so one of the things that helped me with that is in the year 2001, I met my late wife, Wakako Kawagoshi, who was Japanese. So having your girlfriend being from another country, she didn't see these films. And now it's 2022. And my girlfriend right now, she is 21 years younger than me. So we were watching, I've been in the middle of a move. So I've been moving out of my old place and putting a lot of stuff into storage so my new place is ready. And so we're sitting there and we're watching the new Hellraiser reboot on Hulu. And as we're watching it, I realized Abby has not seen all these films.
Yeah.
She hasn't seen the Hellraiser movies, right?
Yeah.
And so you just got to understand that they didn't see it. It's not their fault. Like, is it my fault I haven't seen The Little Mermaid? Is it? Yeah, it is, because I don't have any fucking kids.
Yes.
So
yeah. No,
cool
good analogy.
A lot of boners.
I'm cool about it. So I try to. I haven't seen all this stuff. I don't know what kids' TV is like anymore. All this stuff with Disney grooming kids is really weird to me. I don't understand what the hell Disney's doing anymore. And I feel, and I was fine with, okay, Abby noticed, like, wow, there's a lot of male nudity here in this Hellraiser movie. And I'm like, yeah, but there was in Fear No Evil, too, because there was a lot of homoerotic themes.
Yeah, there
and the
is.
homoerotic themes were used as a way to make your heterosexual viewer uncomfortable,
which is what horror movies are supposed to do, is make you feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, right? And so you're going to push the buttons you need to push to make your audience uncomfortable. Like this whole thread about Freddy 2, we were watching the documentary about the main actor trying to claim that the whole movie's about gay themes, and I'm like, it's not. That's what you come out of it. And the fact that Robert Englund, he always brought that in because he was a child molester, meaning he's a child rapist and a child murderer, which means he killed boys and girls. He killed both. So it would make sense for Freddy to use these different sexual themes to mess with a teenager who's trying to figure themselves out and trying to figure out what their sexuality is. So those are the buttons you hit. And then you get these pundits who all want to say, oh, well, this is about this and this is about that. Well, it was for you. That doesn't mean it's about that for her.
Exactly, because it's art. It's subjective. But I did see that documentary, and I remember the director of Friday, Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2, saying, "Look, I didn't tell that actor. I didn't say scream like a girl. The guy screamed like a bitch." Okay,
part of the reason they casted him.
And actually, go ahead.
Okay, when you're casting, when you're directing, you're casting your actors.
Yes.
I had this issue. Okay, so I was working on a slasher film that was going to be at a summer camp, and we had our money and we had our seed money, and I was casting the various characters, and one was a really funny, snarky guy because it was all about like at a rehab center, and so one guy's a snarky homosexual character. But not the flamboyant usual caricature, just snarky and funny. Right. And he's the actor I was going to cast in that. Well, he was gay. And he's like, are you casting me in this because I'm gay? And I'm like, no, I'm casting you in this because you're smart and you could handle it. And he wanted the big monster character. And I'm like, you don't have the physicality to play that character. You are intelligent and you are funny. So I think you're going to pull off this role better than if I put you into this other role that I really don't think you have the body type for, and I'm not feeling it from you as an actor. And it had nothing to do with whether he was gay or not, because believe me, there's plenty of very scary gay men out there.
Hey, look, some gay brothers that I've known are like, like Sam Elliott kind of manly.
Yeah, for sure.
You
you never know.
Yeah. So
like the leather daddies.
What I saw in that documentary, that director said, I cast this actor in this role for his vulnerability. Right. And the actor was discussing about how he just got to town, he was in the closet, he was having issues, he wanted to be free. And I understood all that, and I got the fact that you cast him for his vulnerability. I did a short horror film called My Name Is Nothing. And there's one character in it that I cast him in there because his role is he's getting yelled at, he's in trouble. And in real life, this friend of mine, Kevin, he is that guy. He is that guy. So I cast him, and I'm like yelling at him, "You shit the bed, Kevin! You shit the bed, goddammit!" But it's kind of what he kind of needed to help him get into character. Yeah, and we'd worked together on other stuff, so I had an understanding of what that actor needed, and then other actresses or actors have needed different things from me as their director, and so that has a lot to do with it. And an actor will bring something to the role. Like I feel Robert Englund, he wasn't out of the closet until I don't know how long ago he came out, but I felt that he was a closeted homosexual actor, gave something extra to the Freddy Krueger role.
Yes.
Yeah.
It gave him something.
A certain sexual menace, for sure. And that's one of the things that I like about this movie is that it does tap into that. Like there's that scene where it looks like he's about to start fingering the heroine with his with his knives. I mean, in terms of images of sexual violence, can you get any more extreme than that?
Right.
But you were talking about Fear No Evil before, which I would love to do on this stream. In that, I remember, I didn't notice this stuff when I was a kid the first time I saw it, and then I watched it again, recently when it came out on Blu-ray, and I was like, God damn, this is, and I had to look it up on IMDb. Like, was the director of this gay? Yeah, absolutely. But in that movie, all of the gay stuff is the subtext.
Wait a minute. Was the director of that film gay in real life?
Yeah.
I thought that man was Frank Lagia.
I think so. Yeah. Yeah. And that movie is very much, and I think, and the screenwriter of Nightmare 2 said that he was writing that script from a place where you had a young man that thought maybe he might be gay, and he thought to himself, if I suddenly discovered that I was gay, the first thing I would feel would be overwhelming fear, right? And I can relate to that because I remember when I was a boy, I really liked tomboys, right? And I liked girls sometimes that, was boys whose bodies were maybe a little boyish or something like that. And I remember thinking, oh shit, am I gay? Am I gay? And then I just went, okay, calm down. Just, if this is a thing, you want to learn about it as quickly as possible so you can deal with it like in a sane way. And so I imagined myself making out with like the best looking guy I could think of. And I just remember I was just like, well, here, sorry, gotta do the close up again. I was just like, I'm not gay. And after that I was fine. But I remember that moment of fear, because then it means I'm going to be a pariah in society.
Yeah.
Right? And fortunately, gay people don't have to deal with that anymore. But now
there's still plenty, dude. There's still plenty of that. I moved back to Wisconsin, and I've seen a definite difference here in Wisconsin dealing with homosexual issues than in Los Angeles, for sure. And being here, okay, like, all right, guys, a lot of times my fingernails are normally pink or colored, and I dress well, and I wear silk scarves, I wear suit jackets.
A little bit of a dandy.
I'm wearing my wife's silk scarf. Like, a lot of stuff that I'd be wearing in public, I'm wearing like is my late wife's stuff. So like I'll have this beautiful silk scarf, and I'm like, they're thinking it's something else, and I'm like, oh, this is my wife's, and I'm bringing this out to remember her. Or I've had the vampire nails since 1990. I was a goth guy. I'm into the goth thing. I'm into the vampires. So I had really long nails until I started doing judo.
Yeah, no, I used to time I was painting my fingernails black all the way up until like the early 2000s.
I have grandkids. Sometimes I don't have a choice the color of my fingernails.
Yeah, that's for sure.
You're not a prisoner of
and
your
you got
culture.
long hair too, so I know those kids must love playing with their hair pops.
What? The hair, but they do like to paint the nails sometimes.
I will say, and living out here and being dressed the way I am, and also, I like women very, very much, and I get along with them very much. I have really good friendships with women. I have a lot of very interesting, intelligent, powerful adult women in my life that are just fantastic people. They're great friends to have. And so here in town, as I've been living around here after my wife passed, and being all of a sudden I found myself single here, I had a lot of these weird closeted folks were hitting on me in a really weird way. Because I was used to Los Angeles, where they just hit on you. You know what I mean?
New York's the same. New York's the same.
Pretty straightforward, But very closeted, weird, and there's a lot of angry, closeted men here. Yeah. And so I've almost gotten into fist fights with dudes, and I'm like, Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, I get this. You're in the closet.
Yes.
And you're having feelings, and you
Yes.
can't handle these feelings you're having, so you have to express yourself violently. I get it. I see what.
Oh yeah, when I was going to college, I was in I went to college upstate New York, Binghamton. You know, like Rust Belt town, like heavy, like redneck population. Yeah, very much so. So there was like no gay community whatsoever. That didn't mean that there weren't a lot of gay people. And I had long hair, and I was all gothed out, combat boots, trench coat, and everything like that. And you know, you didn't see guys like me in that town. And so they would see me and they would think like, oh, okay, yeah, he must, you know, he must swing that way. And the thing is in New York, when a gay dude would hit on me, I'd be like, oh, I'm sorry, brother, I don't swing that way. They'd be like, okay, cool, and move on, right? Whereas in Binghamton, that would happen, and they'd be like, like there would be this moment where they were like, "Oh shit, this guy's gonna kick my ass."
Yeah, I'm not getting that enough.
Them, I'd be like, "Nah, bro, no, it's good. We're good. Like, you know, I'm flattered, seriously, you know." But yeah, then you got the guys who are just all so angry. They want to kick your ass. Yeah, because they want to kick your ass because they want to kiss you, but they can't kiss you, so they want to kick your ass instead.
Can't kiss your ass, so I'm gonna kick your ass.
And you know, the funny thing is, like, I've been around this. I've been around this as an adult, my whole life. Like in college, I don't know about you guys, but where I grew up on the south side of Chicago, I did not know anybody that was openly out until they went to college. It wasn't until I went to college that I met anybody that was like openly out.
Yeah, same here. Same here. Yeah, man. Okay. Yeah, no, I had the same experience. You know, I grew up in the suburbs, and upstate New York, like Sleepy Hollow, that area, and yeah, it's not something that you know. I had friends that I knew were gay. I had a friend that I knew he was gay in junior high. Okay. It's just like, as Fred Williamson would say, when he walked, he left no footprints in the snow.
He had a nice little sachet, huh? Little sachet.
Yeah. And he had a sense of, and he knew it. And he had a sense of humor about himself. Like, that's one of the things I always liked about drag queens. They're the type of people that actually, they're funny and they know they're funny. And, you know, you always get along with people that don't take themselves seriously. It's like, take life seriously, take your work seriously, take your relationship seriously, never take your own ass seriously. Real quick, just want to give a shout out to the chat. What up, Frankie? He says that the new Guillermo del Toro Pinocchio movie is vile and evil. Well,
I mean, see Guillermo, bro.
I kind of lost interest. Awesome. I mean,
yeah, dude.
I told you a friend of mine like gave him a copy of a 6 Young Gorilla trade paperback. So
that's dope.
You got my number, Guillermo. but you know, he said that he was like the nicest guy. That he was like super duper mega humble. I
met Guillermo at Laser Blazer in the Valley in Los Angeles when Devil's Backbone came out, and me and Mick Garris, the director Mick Garris and his wife.
Yeah, I know Mick Garris is.
We were all hanging out online just waiting, and I had a stack. I shit you guys not. I had a stack of Boneyard books like that big that I brought for Guillermo. And I gave him the stack of books, and I still have my Devil's Backbone DVD signed by him. And he was very genuine and very nice. And so is Mick Garris, by the way. If you guys haven't met Mick, Mick's a really cool, down-to-earth dude.
I always got that feeling, always got that impression from him. I never liked him as a filmmaker, but I always got the feeling that he seemed like a really a chill dude. I especially liked the documentary. I don't know if he did it or if he's just like the main narrator of it, but he did a great documentary on Paul Naschy called The Man Who Watched Frankenstein Cry. I think it's called.
We play a ton of Paul Naschy films on American Horrors because I still have the channel streaming right now. It's Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things is playing on American.
One childhood favorite. That jam was on TV all the time. Like the late night horror shows, they showed that a lot. It's like even my normie friends at school knew that movie.
I really like the director of that. Like he also did a really good zombie Vietnam film called Death Dream, I think.
Death Dream. Yes.
And
dude, Death Dream. And then of course, one of the greatest, really the proto slasher, Black Christmas, one of my favorite movies. As a kid, that was one of my favorite movies. That tells you something about what kind of a kid I was. But yeah, then went on to do Porky's and and a Christmas Story.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
and a really funny Courtney movie with Judd Hirsch called From the Hip.
Like he made like some of the best movies ever made and like one of the worst movies ever made.
That Christmas Story though, man. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I mean, diverse as fuck. Unfortunately, when he was producing Popcorn, that was like the early 90s where the horror was verboten, where D. Snyder was going out to promote his horror movie, and the studio told him, when you're going out on the radio stations and talk shows, don't use the H word.
And for those people at home who don't know, Popcorn's a really good slasher mystery film set at they're trying to save a theater. In the theater that they shot that at, I lived pretty close to in LA.
No shit.
Oh, nice.
I believe I believe it was a theater in South Pasadena I used to go to. It's the same place they shot The Player, where Tim Robbins drowns the guy in the puddle out in the alley.
Yeah, Vincent D'Onofrio.
I gotta watch
I used
that
to go
movie.
there all the time.
Oh, it's amazing.
I always wanted to watch that. I remember when it came out when I was a kid.
People who like have experience in Hollywood, people who are in Hollywood say that movie doesn't need to be like remade or anything like that. It's pretty much still like what's described in that by Michael Tolkien. Yeah, it's a Robert Altman movie. Definitely check that out. I highly recommend it. I haven't seen it in a long time, but it's it's really good. Tim Robbins is in that, and I don't want to give away like there's like surprise people.
Fred Ward is fantastic in that. A great classic actor from Tremors. If you're a Tremors fan, Fred Ward is.
Fred was the shit.
He's like a studio cop or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fred was the shit, man. Fred was the shit. I love that. I love that dude. Oddly enough, he supposedly dubbed Franco Nero's voice for the American version of Django.
Oh, what?
It doesn't sound anything like him to me, but yeah. And and all y'all, if you're a horror fan, trust me, you need to check out some of the Italian spaghetti kind of horror themed movies like the original Django. I think that's on Tubi right now. Go check that out. If you love horror, I wouldn't say it's a horror film, but it's horror adjacent. That's to say, it's like one of those movies where you're just like,
gory.
where you're like, brutal. And
a lot of the Sergio Corbucci westerns, there's a really good one with Klaus Kinski called The Great Silence.
I just saw that in 4K, actually before the lockdown. I saw that on in a 4K, and it's 4K release at the Alamo Draft House in Yonkers, and that I always say that's the best Italian Western that's not by Sergio Leone.
That's a tough one, man. That's a tough one. There's a lot of really good. I like one of the great things I love about Italian films is their cinematography is so wealthy in color and richness. The film shots they use, the blacks are really fucking fantastic. And that's what's kind of lacking from a lot of the modern digital stuff is it doesn't have those crisp blacks. It doesn't have those same saturated colors. They're getting closer with like the Viper and some of these newer cameras. But here's the thing that they're never going to replicate with digital, all right? The thing they must understand about digital is it is a mathematical representation of film. It's math. It isn't physical. It's a representation of what the computer thinks it is. Film, every image is its own still. Every print is unique because it's a chemical physical process. So part of what makes film alive is every frame is slightly different, like life. Every frame is a little different, and it functions more like the human eye. The human eye can only see so much. It can only focus on about a 2-inch spot in front of it, and then you've got your peripheral vision. Your peripheral vision is better for it catches fast stuff from the side because that's what we need as an animal. So film is the true art form for motion pictures because it creates a unique experience that digital doesn't match. And one of the problems with digital that we run into, as for myself as a filmmaker, to try to make it look like film, is when you've got static in the background, you've got a like behind me is a wall. So how the math would save space for the compression is that blank wall behind me would be empty of information. There's nothing there. So if you go to try to put something in there, there's nothing there. Same with a lot of the blacks. You don't get a real black. You get like a gray. So
that's fascinating. I didn't know
me neither. That's brilliant. I never even knew that.
Well,
that's awesome.
This is part of what I do with American Horrors. When I sit down, I schedule American Horrors. It's not a stranger. It's not anybody else. Me. I do it myself. And I make sure that, okay, on American Horrors, the formula is this. You've got a shout out. Hey, you're watching American Horrors, and I just fucked up my take, and then the director made fun of me. Then it goes into 3 different trailers. It'll go into 3 different trailers, and I try to make the trailer match the movie. So if I've got a VHS kind of movie from 1993, I'm going to put in trailers that represent that film stock, that represent that style.
Oh, wow.
That's dope.
That's going that extra mile, brother. That's going that extra mile. That shows that you care.
American Horror is unique. It's unique. Every horror fan should be watching American Horrors. And for the people that say, where's the electronic programming guide? They get on and they go, well, how come there's no guide? Hey, did Daft Punk give you their playlist at Coachella? No. When you go to the Misfits, do you have a playlist? No. You just know the Misfits are going to go on, and they're going to go on when they go on, and you're going to wait, and you're going to fucking sit there. And if you get halfway through their set, no one's going to tell you what songs played first. They're not going to fucking do it. So American Horrors is a rock concert. It is a horror concert. It's a virtuoso performance. And part of the fun is you do not know what's playing. That's part of the fun. So you can't reject it offhand. You got to take a bite. You got to fuck a little. Because American Horrors is for people who like to fuck.
Yeah, it's like it's an artistic experience, like you're viewing.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's like having a DJ. It's like having a DJ.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And we miss that. We miss, like, I mean, look, it's great that we live in this age that I dreamed of when I was a kid. Oh, wait, yeah. Real quick. It's just like a thing on the show. People will talk about something, and then I have to like go to my toy shelf.
That's dope.
Did you know I worked with Doyle quite a bit?
What was that?
Did you guys know I did a rockumentary on Doyle?
Did you really?
Yeah, Glenn. Glenn directed it. I got to cut it, and it was for his band Gorgeous Frankenstein. So if you get the Gorgeous Frankenstein, like VH1 making of the music thing, I cut that. I did it. Glenn directed it, and I cut it, and I cut two of his music videos.
Dope.
Oh, did you really?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, where can we see that? I need to check that out.
I think you could buy it. Like, I think it was for sale. And it's Gorgeous Frankenstein was the band Doyle did with his ex-wife, who he had a daughter with.
Oh, wow.
That's cool.
I met Glenn. No, actually, I didn't really meet Glenn. I sort of was like standing next to him. I was at a creation convention in New York City. That's what the conventions were. They were like Star Trek / comic books / Doctor Who conventions, right? And then there was the Fangoria Weekend of Horrors, that sort of thing. But I remember being in the dealer's room, and my friend and I are there. And my friend isn't really into comics, right? But he's kind of hanging out, and we were both like, this is like, early 1980s. We're like punk rock as fuck, right? And this is when Glenn was in Samhain, right? And aka Sam Hain. And like my friend turns, looks, goes like, oh, hey, Glenn Danzig? And he's like, yeah. And he was just like, he was very happy to be recognized. Right. and I was like, oh God, I was such a basket case. I was like really incredibly shy. And so I was just kind of like, I had barely even looked over at him. I was just kept going through my comics, just hoping he would go away because it was stressing me out because like I was a fan, and oh God. Yeah. It's one of the things I like about getting older is I give less of a fuck. Like I missed up on I passed up on a chance to meet Christopher Lee at a book signing in 2000 in New York City, because I was dating this girl and she done me dirty, and so I was like, my ego was down here, and I was like, if I go up to him and I say something stupid, because I know I'm gonna like geek out like a motherfucker, right? And if he looks at me and says, "Sir, you are a bloody fool," then I'm gonna have to kill myself.
It's all over.
Then it's over. So I just basically pretended to browse the shelves while getting as close as I could, and looking at him,
creeping up.
That's Christopher Lee. Yeah. But like now, I can actually go to horror conventions and actually meet people, and and actually talk to them and not be like scared out of my wits.
I don't get scared because you could die at any moment. That's how I look at it. You know what I mean? Because I got a chance to meet Guillermo and I missed it, and I just could have went up to him. I met Neil Adams. I told you that time.
Ween. Yeah, but you know
and
what?
I missed Lynn Ween and fucking. I think no, Bernie didn't go.
Yeah.
But I missed a lot of them, dude. And it's just fuck it. They're just people. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And it's just you're gonna miss that chance. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Who cares?
Yeah, now I don't give a fuck. Now I don't.
I gotta admit, when I met Henry Rollins, I was very verklempt. My friend, I'm a big Rollins fan.
I like his band.
I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of his poetry. I'm a big fan of the solo band, and I saw him do spoken word a ton of times in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
And so my friend was a photographer and was shooting him when he had his new band, and he was working with I can't remember the name of their band. They worked at Aaron's Records in L.A. And it was a great album. And they were getting ready to go out on the road. And Lauren was their photographer for the record label. And I was like the gear guy. I was handling all her gear for her. And I just kept my mouth shut and hung out because I didn't want to be that. I love your stuff, Mr. Rollins. You're the
right.
Wartime.
So
was that the name of the band at that time? Right? I think it was like pre or post Rollins band, Wartime, I think. Maybe it was just one record, I think, that he did as that. But it's neither here nor there. Just getting into like punk rock ephemera. But the thing about Henry that I always liked, this is my own personal opinion, is that he's a guy who doesn't really have a lot of talent, but he's never let that stop him. But he's always he has no talent, but he's like, it's kind of, but he knows it,
You are a dick. I'm calling you a big dick.
But you see, this is why I'm a fan, is because he's just like, he hasn't let that stop him. He's just like, fuck it. And like Ice-T, like I love the attitude he has. He was like, I convinced everybody I was a rapper. I can't rap. Then I convinced everybody I was an actor. I can't act.
I don't know. I liked Rollins growing up. I remember when the Liar video came out. That's how I know. Because I like him
too.
And I was like, this is fucking bad. He's Superman and he's fucking ripped. And I was just a kid watching that shit. And I liked it. And I was cool, And then later on, I figured out who he was. And he's in video games. Like Def Jam Vendetta. He's a trainer in there. And then I went on to watch his movies, and then hearing interviews with him about how he is and just the stuff, how he trolls, fucking goes to different, like you were talking about how he goes to different countries when we're fucking going to war with them.
Yeah,
go over
and
there
brings a hard drive with him.
Yeah,
loaded with music, and says, here's like a 75 terabyte hard drive. Take like whatever you want off it, but also take your local bands and put that shit on there. Mm-hmm. And so everywhere he goes, that hard drive just gets filled up with more and more and more music.
That's pretty dope.
And I could snap on Henry. I'm a fan for sure.
Hey, well, dude, you speak your mind. That's what we do on here. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
When we side quest like a motherfucker.
Yeah. And
but I like Rollins band more than Black Flag. I'll tell you that right now. I mean, I just like them more.
Black Flag was overrated. I was never really a fan. The interesting thing about the Misfits.
All right, on that note, I'm going to go get more coffee. I'll be right back.
You got it, dude. We'll hold the fort. We'll hold the fort. The interesting thing about the Misfits was they were not popular when they were a band, or even like for a while after, because they were doing like melodic songs. They were doing melodic music, right? A lot of the Misfits songs, they're catchy.
I like that shit. I like catchy shit. Like,
me too.
Like, I'm always gonna like it, but it's
but
gotta be
that
heavy,
was a sin.
Back
and
then,
like the New York City punk rock,
had to be punk.
hardcore
Had to be
scene.
punk. Yeah.
Well, it had to be hardcore. It had to be. You couldn't. It couldn't be something that would that was catchy, that would stick in your head.
look what Frankie dropped. Dude,
Oh yeah. By the way, chat, I'm sorry if I have been.
He just dropped it right now.
Oh yeah. Let's see. The book Rollins and Danzig, a love story. No, where can I get that shit? Is that a thing? Is that?
I'll tell you one thing, dude. I want to watch that new Danzig fucking horror western. I don't give a fuck type shit. I want to watch that shit.
Oh, Perotta though, man, is so
What's that?
cringe. It's so cringe. I couldn't watch it.
Fuck you! It's awesome. I've got that book, Henry and Glenn, forever. I know half the dudes that made that fucking book. That fucking book is fucking hilarious. It is so fucking funny. Anybody who knows Glenn Danzig will laugh their ass off. Now, some of it's just mean. But it is so fucking funny. Oh my god. Daryl Hall and John Oates as his satanic next door neighbors. Fucking great.
Okay. You know what? I will actually give that. I'll give it another look.
Look, I remember back in the Wizard days, dude. Like fucking Glenn Danzig was fucking Wolverine. Like everybody picked it. Like,
oh, of course, he grew the mutton chops and everything.
Yeah, do you remember that? Like that was like fucking street fucking nerd like wizard shit. Like Clint Eastwood's gonna be Cable. Nerd. Yeah, and everybody wanted Danzig.
He was like, that's why he was like right next to us at the comic book convention.
Dude, you could fucking.
He was flipping through comics.
You could Google that fool from that time, and you could fucking sketch him, and he would be Wolverine, dude. Like straight up.
Without a doubt.
All buff and fucking kind of smaller, you know what I mean? And he like
like
Logan, dude.
Yeah, like a dwarf.
He was down with it too. He was down too.
Yeah.
You could tell he was down. You could tell he was kind of low key campaigning probably. If they
didn't you guys know that Glenn was supposed to play Wolverine?
That's what I heard. I rember back in the day, like because he was low key campaigning, and everybody was down with it. You know what I mean?
I heard rumors, but I never. But I never thought there was anything to them.
No, it's totally the truth. You know, Glenn actually is Wolverine. Like, no fucking joke about it. If you know the character, the real, not Hugh Jackman. Fuck that fucking Broadway play, long-legged bullshit.
Yes,
Wolverine's a satanic runt. He's a little runt.
Yeah,
small. A little monster. Yeah.
Yeah, but why? He looks like he comes from a planet that has like really dense gravity.
Yeah, and so Glenn, he did grow his mutton chops out like Wolverine. Glenn was a huge Wolverine fan. I mean, okay, guys, I didn't just work with Glenn. We were friends. We hung out. We sat and read comic books sitting on his bedroom floor like little kids, man.
Wow.
I know this guy. So he did. And I heard the story directly from Glenn. He was cast in the Bryan Singer X-Men film as Wolverine.
What?
That would have been dope, dude.
Yeah, he was. He was totally cast in it. But he couldn't go off the road for over a year. He would have had to stay off the road, and he didn't want to, like, his crew, his band, they all needed jobs that he didn't want to have to reassemble everybody when they'd all be spread to the four winds. So he bowed out of the role, but he really wanted to do it.
Oh my God.
Damn, dude. Imagine, dude, that's like a fucking book, dude. Like people would watch that in a documentary. People would pay for that shit.
Great. Now that is going to live in my head. Like you always wondered, like, wouldn't it be cool to go to like another dimension where like Christopher Walken played Han Solo in Star Wars, and just go from dimension to dimension to like catch like.
You saw that Saturday Night Live sketch, didn't you?
What was that?
You saw that Saturday Night Live sketch. I read. Hey.
No. This is long before that. This is long before that.
You know what I mean? The one from Saturday Night Live with Kevin Spacey was impersonating him.
Yeah, I heard he was doing him.
I didn't see it, but I heard of it. But I remember, that's like, since learning that as a kid, reading about that in like Starlog magazine, I I was just, these are like non-existent movies that like live in your head. You'd always imagine.
Or the Burton Cage fucking Superman movie.
Yeah, that's
with his fucking Hawaiian shirts, fucking tripping over everybody as Clark Kent. I would have watched the shit out of that. And God. Fucking England was tried out for Luke Skywalker, and he lost the role to it. From my understanding, that did happen. Yeah. Well, and also Jackie Earl Haley tried out for Freddy, and he lost it, but he got his comeuppance in the remake.
Right.
Yeah. Which was dope. Good for him.
Yeah. Without a doubt, he's an incredible actor.
I kind of like some of the stuff in that movie, but it can't hold a candle to this, or even New Nightmare, or even the original. I love me some New Nightmare too. And
New Nightmare was terrific.
I like that.
They had a lot of good stuff in New Nightmare. They had a lot of really good stuff in there.
That was a fun one.
That makeup right there.
Right there.
I wish they'd used this more. Where he looks like absolutely demonic, he has like the pointed ears. He looks like a goblin.
That's New Nightmare. Like they hollowed it down into like they galvanized what Freddy was in essence. You know what I mean?
That's a very good movie. I was
and they
really
do the Pied Piper for the remake because they're always trying to figure out the fucking essence, the origin of his evil, or what he's.
Yeah, no, I love that. I slept on that movie for a long time. It was one of those movies where I was just like, do I really want another, I lost interest like around part 5 to be after part 3 3 like brought me back. And then after 4, I was like, okay, I'm done. And so it was one of those movies that I just like, I passed on, and that ends up, it's like, you don't have a good excuse for not having seen it, but you just don't see it. Yeah. And then, that's one of the things that's great about having friends who are into horror. They'll tell you, like, oh, you should actually check that out. Like, that's actually really worth your time.
Did you see Jason X by any chance with Kane Hodder?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that's fun.
I loved it. Like, I love that. I got the.
It's goofy
the
as fuck, but that's
the toy, the design. He's so fucking fun to draw and hard to draw. Because he's biomech too, you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, when he gets like fused with, like turned into a cyborg.
I could watch a whole movie of him just like going to another planet and like doing some weird shit,
decimating like an alien culture.
Yeah, it's so cool looking.
Right, like you'll have like these aliens and like the alien version of like Lover's Lane,
like we'll fight Predator or something, like Jason X versus Predator. You know what I mean? Or Aliens.
Yeah.
Like I'd fucking watch it. I don't give a fuck. Like that would be so cool.
I absolutely would. What's great is that we live in this age now where the comic book crossovers are limitless, right?
Limitless.
Like, there was a Tarzan on Planet of the Apes. There was
Predator,
Tarzan versus Predator in Pellucidar in a Hollow Earth from the Edgar Rice Burroughs. At the Earth's core.
I'm not reading this. It's like I can't read it.
Like,
Why can't you fucking read that? You know you want to love it. You're gonna read it.
or they did Star Trek on the Planet of the Apes, and like Kirk and basically Charlton Heston's character. What am I blanking on his name? Like he's on the Enterprise, and he's just like, this is great. Like, you got a whole spaceship up here. I'm going to use it to nuke the Planet of the Apes. I'm going to shoot some photon torpedoes down there. And then he and Kirk get into a fucking brawl.
Little bar brawl.
Yeah. And I'm telling you, I'm sitting there, I'm reading the comic, and in my ears, I hear dun 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 dun.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Right. But to get a movie made
that's like different.
Star Trek Planet of the Apes crossover, that's different. That's different.
Like you say, Brian, you got to strip them of their money now. All these.
Yes.
Cool
Well,
movies,
ladies and gentlemen, since we're at this crossover stage, I'm gonna bring this full circle around to Jeffrey Dahmer versus Jesus Christ.
Thank you so much for saying that, because I realized I got lost. I got like you helped suck us into like a vortex of like horror geekdom, and I lost track of time. But yes, let's take a look at this campaign. Pops, do you have that link? Or if one of you gentlemen would like to, let's see.
Well, here's the interesting thing. While you guys are looking for the link, let me break down what I just found out today. Okay, I found out recently, we know that there's been an issue online with shadow ban and censorship.
Yep.
So I, in my lifetime, have dealt with a lot of censorship, and including with this particular book. The first book, Jeffrey Dahmer, an unauthorized biography of a serial killer, was released in March 1992. Then a reporter in Milwaukee bought the book, took it to the victims' families' homes, jammed it in their face on the front porch, ambush interviewed them, and then the whole debacle began. So all of a sudden now I became this bad guy publisher. I'm a guy right out of college. I had my art degree. I was a bouncer at a bar called Mabel's. I had just gotten my black belt in Taekwondo. And so I did this book on Dahmer, and I got sued by the victims' families. And the media jumped on me and said, hey, you're this terrible person. How dare you do this book exploiting these people? When the whole time the mass media was exploiting these people. The talk show industry were exploiting the victims' families.
Yep.
The community leaders portrayed in Netflix, Janetta and Arch Murchison, exploited the victims' families so they could get on television. And I became their bad guy. Blonde-haired, blue-eyed, white guy. Hey, bad guy. So I had to do 3 more books to pay for my legal fees. The victims' families sued me. Not only did they sue me, they sued the state so they could get his cookware and get the implements that he murdered their loved ones with so they could sell them. If you want to see that, I was on Larry King, and that video, I believe, is on the campaign. It's right on the campaign at Indiegogo for the big book of Dahmer. So I did these other books, and this is like 30 years ago, man. And these books really put me in the hot seat, and a lot of people are upset with me, and I became like the bad guy du jour. I was the guy that was like, you could point your finger at. Oh, that guy's the bad guy over there. It's like Scarface. You want to see the bad guy? Right here.
Yeah.
So
say good night to the bad guy.
Say good night to the bad guy. So let's skip forward 30 years because it's now 2022. So it's 30 years later, and I'm completely broadsided by this Netflix special on Jeffrey Dahmer. So the Netflix special comes out, and I didn't know anything about it. They used my work without my permission. They altered my comics without my permission. So they demonized me, called me a scumbag. In the meantime, you guys just did 10 hours on Dahmer, and you're demonizing me over a 24-page black and white comic book. Really, guys? Talk about the pot calling the kettle black.
Dude, they got little kids like in lingerie, so.
Yeah, fuck Pepsi.
Yeah, so here I am today, and they kind of forced me. I wasn't prepared to do this. I was planning on collecting all 4 Dahmer books. Jeffrey Dahmer, an unauthorized biography of a serial killer. Young Jeffy Dahmer, which is off the chain crazy. Dahmer Zombie Squad, and Dahmer versus Jesus. Jeffrey Dahmer versus Jesus Christ. Now, I did the 3 other books because I needed money to pay my lawyer. I got sued. So I had to come up with like $10,000 in 1993. That's a lot of fucking money, guys. That's a lot of money. So I had to do these other books, and all the money from the other books went into my legal fees to pay for them. So the books did all right. They sold enough to pay for my legal fees. I had to go through bankruptcy court in the year 2000 because my comic company kind of drove me under when the industry went down. And so now, because of Netflix, I had to ram into this Indiegogo thing and do this where I'm going to collect all the Dahmer books into one book so that people can read for themselves what these guys are lying about. They're lying about the contents of the book. The book is pretty good. The book is actually really well written. The satire, Young Jeffy Dahmer, is pretty damn funny by Eric Ganoff. In Russian, Ganoff means eater of pus, but it's a fake name. Eric Perukin, who is a professor of mine at the U of I in Champaign, Urbana. So we had to use a fake name so that the politics wouldn't have him lose his job over these assholes.
Oh my God.
Can I interrupt real quick right here?
Go ahead.
Just like last week or the week before, we had these guys that did this cover on the show.
Yep.
Andrew and Gabriel.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. We just had them on the show. We covered
Father and Son.
They were awesome. This is actually the one that I backed.
Yeah, this is the limited edition cover. Only 50 copies are being printed and signed, and I'm about to add a bunch of signed editions to the campaign this week. I was going to do it today, but I had to deal with this. All right, we all know about shadow banning, and I had been told by several creators, and some of them are people that Pops hooked me up with. I was talking to Christine about it. She's like, Hart, you're shadow banned on Facebook. I'm not seeing this anywhere. And we've been concerned. We're like, man, we're not getting the donations we're expecting. And it's because Facebook has been hiding this stuff. They've been censoring me. And just today, I woke up and I found out that my entire account is restricted. My American Horrors pages, Boneyard pages are all restricted because I've been getting death threats. I've been getting threats over the book again. Thank you, Netflix. Thank you for your portrayal of my work. Because of you, I'm getting death threats again. How nice, assholes. So I would urge the people at home, and I would urge all of you guys to please help me. Please get this out there and crowdfund. Not on Facebook. Get on Twitter. Get on Instagram. Get on Jabberwocky. Get on other forms of communication because Facebook is restricting. Just the other day, I tried to hit the links, and it wasn't allowing me to go to the campaign. And it's disturbing, to say the least, because there's nothing in this book that should be banned. There's nothing in this book that should be censored. In fact, I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to blacklist me so that you cannot see their lies. They're lying. They don't want me to prove it. They want me to be silenced. They want me to be ostracized. And so I need your help. I'm asking for help from every host, from every fan out there who believes in free speech, that believes in the freedom of artists to create. And this is a book that's been around for 30 years. And I got hit on Facebook for a piece of artwork that has been used to promote this. If you guys scroll down, and you'll see a thing for The Garbage Man on this campaign. One of the things that's an add-on on this campaign, my movie, The Garbage Man, that I wrote and directed during this, right there, they said that art there went against community standards. And that art has been on these pages for the last 2 years. That's the poster and video box cover for The Garbage Man, which has been all over Facebook for years.
That's fuckery. We're used to it. We're used to it.
I just want you to know, I just copied the link out of the address bar and pasted it into the madness, and it's up.
Thank you. Thank you. I really need help. I'm on my last week of campaigning.
I'm just letting you know, I don't use their buttons. I copy and paste the address. Do you see what I'm saying? They can turn that button off. They can turn that button off, but they can't stop. I mean, they have to kill the whole thing to stop the actual address, right?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah. Shadow banning isn't the same as banning, which is to say you can still back this, people. It's not like Private American that, got banned on Kickstarter. But, dude, we're using this work. Mike Baron was his
Private American.
Yeah. So we're used to fuckery, right? And now it's like the only platform that we're supposed to officially use is Indiegogo, and they're shadow banning us. And it's bullshit, and it's fuckery. Unfortunately, it's not rare. Thing is, you have a very modest goal for this. You're selling a really cool looking book,
big book,
and there's no reason why we can't get this across the finish line. And everybody, I urge you, if you don't back this book, first of all, back this book, bitches. But second, I just insulted the audience. Great. Back this book. But if you can't back it, share the link. Because sharing it to Facebook and to Twitter doesn't cost you a dime. And it makes a tremendous difference. Trust us.
Yeah, it really does. When you, the person at home, says, hey, this guy is being censored. Hey, they're trying to take this guy down. We got to say no to that, especially all the stuff that we've been seeing with the Twitter files on all
oh my God.
Information, all the censorship.
Hail Matt Taibbi.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Matt Taibbi and also Glenn Greenwald. I think they're tremendous. They're amazing journalists. I'm also I am also a fan of Julian Assange, and I think that what they're doing to Julian is a crime.
Oh yeah,
and so
they're torturing him to
book
death
right
for
here.
journalism.
A great way to help is contribute to the campaign. You want to fight censorship, this is how you do it. So when they try to ban something quietly, this is how you get the word out there. This is how you do it, because that's crowdfunding. And it's about all of us, just like the Freedom Convoy in Canada. It's about all of us, and it's what they're afraid of. They're afraid of all of us talking to each other. They're afraid of us working together.
Can I throw a spoiler on him, buddy?
Go ahead, buddy.
Go ahead.
Jesus wins.
No, I mean, like, look, I'm looking at this, right? And I'm a Christian. And so I'm just like, now so I look at something like this, I'm just like Jeffrey Dahmer versus Jesus, and he's just like knocking Jesus so hard in the jaw that his like crown of thorns is flying off and his head's practically spun around. I look at this, I'm like, dude, really? Come on now. But I would never say this should be forbidden.
I drew the cover.
Jesus wins, though. I'm just saying.
I drew it.
I know.
I drew the cover. Okay,
No,
here's why this cover is this way. Listen to me. The reason the cover is this way, it's meant to be provocative.
Yeah,
of course. No, I get it. No, I get it, dude. Trust me, I
you need someone to go, oh, what is this? And that's how you do it. But in the Netflix special,
I get it.
in episode 10,
yeah.
In episode 10 of the Netflix special, a big part of this is an answer to them. Like, hey, guys, you portrayed this book and you lied about it. So I want this out there and available so people could see, A, the book is good. B, they lied about it. So in episode 10 of their Netflix Dahmer special, they've got portrayal of three of the victims' family members who are on these talk shows with me. So I know these women. I know them. Spent time with them. I've talked to them. When you're on these talk shows with these folks, you spend time backstage.
Right.
There's time in between camera breaks. You're talking.
Right.
So, A, their portrayal of these victims' families is garbage. It's exploitive. It's bullshit. Their portrayal of Arch Murchison, bullshit and exploitive garbage, fantasy land. So in episode 10, they've got three of these ladies sitting around a table, and they're going, oh, what are we going to do now? Well, we should sue somebody. Well, we tried that, and that didn't work. And they go, well, look what he's up to again. Now he's making Dahmer a superhero. Oh, no. And they bring out the book, and they're looking at the book, and they hand it around the table, and they're all talking shit about me without naming my name, of course, because then I have an actionable offense.
Right.
Then I can go after them.
Right.
So then they altered the cover. So they photoshopped the cover a little bit, and not a lot, just a little bit. And then the third lady gets the book, and she's got it, and you can see the cover where Jesus is getting hit. She goes, oh, Lord, I'm not going to read this book, but I hope Jesus wins. Well, the producers of this show know that Jesus wins. They know this. This isn't a secret.
Yeah.
You feel me? So they portrayed this on purpose so the audience will have a bad guy. I'm the bad guy. What about the people who produced this exploitive piece of shit? What about them?
Right. Right.
Are they shadow banned on
Well, you know what it
Facebook?
is? You know what it is, too? It's this attitude, because remember, we're talking about a time, well, still really, I guess most people would think, well, you know, it's bad because it's a comic book and comic books are for kids. Okay.
That's a lot. Okay.
Yeah.
Comic books, if you want to know your history,
yes.
If you want to know your history,
American
comic
GIs.
books were the most widely read art form in America during World War II.
Yep.
GIs carried EC comics with them everywhere.
Yes.
Comics were huge.
Yep.
Then their competitors, the competitors of EC Comics, they were upset that they weren't selling as much as EC. So them and several Christian groups got together and they created the parental, like this whole advisory group to censor books. And it was specifically designed to drive EC Comics under.
Frederick Wortham and Seduction of the Innocent. I believe he went to prisons to study convicts and discovered that comic books were very popular in prisons. So, comic books lead to crime.
I had a family member who worked in law enforcement, and she's a judge now. And we had arguments because she said, well, you know, pornography causes criminality. And I'm like, why do you think that? Because every criminal that I prosecuted had porn. And I said, you know what? Our grandfather had porn. Every man I know has porn.
Yes.
Every man I know has porn. So what are you talking about? You made that idea. You think porn causes crime?
I know.
That's foolish.
So
That's causality.
I know. Remember in the 80s too, when the Republicans were trying to ban porn, right? And it was just like, well, men watch these films and they want to go out and commit rape. I'm like, no, you watch these films and want to go out and commit rape. Don't project your shit onto me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, the censorship has always been bullshit. No matter where it's come from. In the 80s, of course, it was coming from the right. Now it's coming from the fucking left. It's just like, you can't win, man.
You just got to keep fighting. It's one of the things I like about what Ethan has done, and I like the fact that they adopted their own identity and they rolled with the punches. So Ethan definitely inspired me a lot to come out and do this regardless. Ethan Van Sciver is writing the epitaphs to the book, so he's writing epitaphs.
Well, dude, you gotta advertise that on your page.
I do.
Okay, all right, yeah, bump that shit to the top.
You know, that's all in there, and it's pretty crazy how this is working now, but they're only going to help me. I mean, they've only created a platform. They've only shown what they're afraid of. You know what I mean? Like, so when they try to censor something, that's when you got to go for it. That's when you got to be like, okay, guys, I run American Horrors. American Horrors has been streaming nonstop since 2011. October 2nd, 2011, American Horrors has been free at Film On and then now Roku and online at AmericanHorrors.net. And then so we have these channels and we're free and we play all these movies for free with no commercial interruptions. So how come you've never read a single article ever about American Horrors on Fangoria or Rue Morgue or Bloody Disgusting or Scream the magazine? Now, one time Rue Morgue told me, they sent me an email and they said, Hart, we'll write about American Horrors when you take out ads like a professional.
What?
Yeah, I have that in writing.
Motherfuckers.
Horrible.
Jamie, I still have that email if you're still working at Rue Morgue. So they said that to me. They literally said.
Wow.
So how come?
Man.
And I did take out advertising in Scream Magazine. Scream Magazine became the #1 publication for horror, and they're based out of England. So we did advertise. We advertised when I teamed up with Max when he did the Grindhouse channel. So I did take out full-page ads in Scream to promote that, to promote the film festival, to promote American Horrors. So how come you've never read a single article about American Horrors at Scream? And we have a show from Ireland that's on for the last 6 years, Gorecast. So how come there's been nothing about us in the media about this? It's an honest question. I'd like to know, because we had 8 million viewers last year. Our average watch time per viewer was 32 minutes, I believe. This year, I just checked on my Roku the other night. Average watch time on American Horrors is 39 minutes per viewer. That's kick ass, guys. So if I got this viewership, if I have this amount of hang time, people watch and want to hang on the channel, how come you haven't read about us anywhere? How come you've never read in any news magazine that Billie Eilish grew up next door to me, that Billie Eilish is in the opening credits of the American Horrors TV show? How come that has not been made germane to the public? Ask yourself that question, then say, Hart, you've been shadow banned for a long time, my friend.
No, you've been media blacklisted for a long time.
Yeah.
That's way deeper than shadow banned.
Yeah.
Fellas, I'm sorry. I just need to nip upstairs really quick and get a refill. I got
What are you drinking?
What are
you drinking, Brian?
Right now, water. I need to get like some some tea, but we'll be right back. You boys, just hold it down.
And hey, I'll do the sales spiel. You guys get on this Dahmer campaign. Contribute. If you can't contribute, share. Talk about it. There's a $5 tier. If you just want to throw in $5 in the kitty, that's cool too. If you want a digital version, it's $20, guys. If you want to get the trade paperback, it's $35. I made a point to make this affordable because I want fans to be able to read these books. it is important to me that people are able to read the product. And we're having 4 different covers. They're the original covers. So there's 4 different versions of the book. You've got the classic Dahmer bio cover. You got the Young Jeffy cover. You've got the Dahmer Zombie Squad cover. You've got the Jeffrey Dahmer versus Jesus wraparound cover. And you've got this killer limited edition cover by Andrew and Gabriel Is it Mangum?
Yeah.
Mangum? Okay. Those guys did a killer job on this book. We're talking about doing more work together. We are going to be collecting the Kill Image and Kill Marvel book together. And those guys are going to work on variant covers for that. But right now, we're almost there on the campaign. We're that close. We're just a couple of a bit shy from hitting, and we got like what, 5 more days?
Yeah. $500 bucks 5 days. 500
We're
bucks.
$500 away, folks. $500 away. And the whole book is working on the book.
While Brian's gone, why don't we go ahead and I'll play this video real quick.
Yeah, that's cool.
Cool. Let me mute myself.
I don't know how they fucking talked me into this, but I grabbed this goddamn shirt. I have a box in my mom's fucking attic, and Jesus Christ, I look like a sausage link.
In the underground lair of an upstart publisher, the saga of Jeffrey Dahmer unfolds in the pages of a not-so-comic book.
It's something you can't get anywhere else. I mean, if you like the truth, you like something a little bit different, something a little bit more fresh, a little bit more bloody, we've got something.
Outraged families of Dahmer's victims have successfully sued to block further publication of the strip.
And we find that this book written by Mr. Hart Fisher, it's a shame.
We might find what he publishes absolutely repugnant, but here in America, you're allowed to publish and print whatever you want. We have all kinds of books about all kinds of murderers. We have movies about Adolf Hitler. What right does a group have to go and try and ban the publication?
Hart Fisher is being sued by family members of Dahmer's victims for using their names and likenesses in his comics. But Fisher says his real concern is with the family's determination to have the comics banned.
Basically, the only reason they're here is so you can profit directly on their pain live while it happens right here. That's the only reason they're here. You brought them here for one reason.
She's not profiting.
I'm not profiting anything. She's making thousands and thousands of dollars by you crying on TV, suffering on TV. I did a comic book about a killer as a journalistic exercise.
We let you know that we do not like your comic book.
The whole talk show industry is based on festering wounds. You take people, you exploit them right there.
Did you try to sue over this?
Yes, I did, and I lost through the First Amendment, and I've had that up to here, too.
If it does bother her heart, what's the problem in apologizing?
Well, the problem is this. Why don't you go out and create your own product?
And write a book on what it's like to be a black called a Caucasian who becomes a victim?
Something like that.
I've been through a lot on the south side of Chicago. So when it came time to do my own comic book company, well, Boneyard Press was about that primal scream for life in the face of death. I remember sitting in my father's kitchen. We were having breakfast. He lived in Country Club Hills. And, and he's like, so this company you're doing is Boneyard Press, huh? Yeah, Dad. Yeah, it's the Boneyard Creek in Champaign, right? It's the Boneyard Creek. And I'm like, no, Dad, it means my back is against my grave and I'm going forward or I'm going to die. I'm going forward or I'm going to die. That's where I'm coming from. This is what I'm doing. If I don't succeed, I'm going to tumble into my own goddamn grave. So I'm going to go over everything and everyone in front of me.
Boneyard Press, their titles include Dark Angel, Bill the Bull, Outlaw Nation, Jeffrey Dahmer, the unauthorized biography, Kill Image, Kill Marvel. He's no stranger to controversy. Hero Illustrated called him the most dangerous man in comics. Welcome to Cartoonist Kayfabe, Hart D. Fisher.
Holy shit, we're funded. Daddy, we're funded. We're fully funded.
This
Holy
fucking
shit.
thing's a large. I mean, this thing's tighter than the last one. You guys think this looks better?
Yeah, it doesn't show as much. It's black.
You guys are high. It's a large.
It's slimming.
What do you mean slimming?
It's slimming. You don't look sausagey.
All right, you fuckers. Let's roll this.
Oh, hell yeah.
Hey, you guys. Hey.
That was awesome. Yeah, what's up?
Fuck Facebook. We're funded. We're
What?
funded, guys.
Oh,
Fuck around?
Dude.
We did it. We
The fuck?
fucking did it. Thank you, Pop. Thank you, Brian. Thank you, crowdfunding people. We're fucking funded.
What's up?
Thank you, guys.
Hell
There
yeah.
you go. Every now and then, Brian gets some shit funded.
Why we do what we do.
Fuck you, Facebook.
That's
Fuck you,
fucking
Facebook.
awesome.
Fuck you, Facebook.
That's what's up.
Holy shit. Oh, okay. I gotta find the
Yo.
Vanilla Ice dance now.
Dude.
All right.
Right now, you
This-
are on the Still Toking Facebook group, Hart. You're on Brian's Facebook page. You're in the Madness. You're on the Madness YouTube channel. You're on Brian's YouTube channel. You're on my Twitch channel. You're on Brian's Twitter. You're on my Twitter. So that support can be coming from any of those places or a little bit from all of them. Who knows? You know,
man. Yeah,
we're
man.
just-
Oh, my God. Oh.
that's why we're doing this expansive
Absolutely.
network thing.
Yep.
You know?
Yep. Hell yeah. Folks in the chat, thank you so much. You came correct. This is the second.
Thank you, guys.
Man.
Fucking thank you.
Seriously,
Hail.
folks? Yeah, hell.
God, I wish I had some whiskey. I'm just drinking coffee. Fuck.
I'm drinking tea out of a bullet cup, so don't feel bad.
Yeah,
we
no,
don't have
Brian got-
anything in the
Brian got
house
me on
except
that
for
tea.
like this much Irish cream, like Bailey's Irish cream. I can't drink that straight.
Yeah.
Oh,
Dude, thank you, everybody. Thank you, man. That's
Oh, thank you,
what
guys.
That's
Hail.
what this is about.
that's
No
what this
shit.
is about. Absolutely,
You know-
man. Creators helping creators.
In my career, one of the toughest things to deal with is this kind of censorship, right?
Yeah.
Part of the reason I created a television network is so that I would have a voice. After being destroyed, having my family affected by the lies of the mass media, having my mother, who worked for the Department of Public Aid in Illinois, helping out with welfare stuff since 1969 and being harassed over this Dahmer stuff. My mother was harassed over this. My family was harassed over this. My house was robbed over this. I had death threats over this. I have had, and my girlfriend was raped and murdered in the middle of making this thing and doing this. So it's not like I've never lost anybody. I have.
Jesus, dude. I'm
So
so sorry to hear
when
that.
you had the second largest distributor in comic books, Capital City Distribution, burned over 1,000 copies of the Jeffrey Dahmer bio book. When you have a distributor buy your book from you and instead of giving it to the stores, they burn it, how do you fight that? So this is what I've been dealing with for 30 years. So I'm really moved. Thank you, people at home. Thank you, all the supporters of this campaign. I'm deeply moved by this because we have to stand up together.
Yes, we
got to
do.
do it together.
Preach, brother. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you, this is the way. But I'm sorry. I gotta play this, man. I'm feeling this. I'm feeling the spirit, man.
Holy Ghost power! I said Holy Ghost power! Power to change you when you don't want to be changed. Power to remake you when you don't want to be remade. Say hallelujah!
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
I feel
people.
like getting that loud, but I'm doing this from my girlfriend's apartment right now on her couch. And I know I'll blow out the neighbors because I have a theater voice.
Yes.
Yeah, no, that'll do it. That'll do it. Yeah. Like I have a problem. I guess maybe I'm a little hearing impaired from like all the punk rock shows with my head practically in the speakers. But people always tell me like, dude, lower your voice. Lower your voice. And I got my father's laugh, so I'm like, whoa.
Well, I'm up here now when like everybody in the house is asleep, so I gotta try and not get too excited. But thank you, everybody. Fuck
Yeah, seriously,
Congratulations,
everybody.
Hart. You know,
Yeah.
Well, I got serious
you guys
lung
rock.
power, guys. I could sing Meatloaf. That's how big the lungs are. I sing Bat Out of Hell. That's how big the lungs are. Oh, or what's it? The
Don't
sweet
do it, Brian. Don't
Ball
do it,
Blitz.
Brian.
I got to. I have to. This is a
Don't
tradition.
do it.
This is going to be a tradition. This is the second book that got funded on my stream. Now, I take no credit for this getting funded. I still think it would have crossed the finish line, right? Without our help. Same thing with
It's even
Tommy
better
Mark.
that it happened the day that I got shadow banned. I woke up today, like I'm in bed. I've been moving for the last week and a half out of my old place. And so it's been crazy. We're talking about 3 floors of stuff, an entire book collection, all the equipment, all the computers, all the camera gear, the green screen room, all of it.
Yeah. And like supposedly moving is like one of the most traumatic life events, up there with like divorce and like loss of a loved one.
And I've dealt with it all. I lost my mother last year. My mother passed last year. It's a big part of why I'm doing this. I lost my wife a few years ago. My dog died in my arms. I'm like a country song.
Yeah, no, me too.
My arms.
Oh,
my cat chewed his own face off.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, the making of the video is on right now on American Horror's Classic. If you want to see young Billie Eilish, it's on right now on American Horror's Classic, completely free on your Roku at AmericanHorrors.net. So if you want to see an 8-year-old Billie Eilish, check it out.
Most definitely, and I most definitely will be because I do have a Roku. It was my mom's, and I lost my mom. Actually, lost a lot of people recently, but what's so great is that life goes on, and there are still gifts and blessings to be received. And speaking of gifts and blessings, Pops is like, don't do it, Brian, don't do it. I gotta do it, man. This is to celebrate.
Yo, VIP.
Michael Myers gonna come damn.
Michael Myers is gonna come out of that bush and just like saying,
Alright, stop. Collaborate and listen. I sit back with my brand new invention. Something got to hold me tightly, flow like a hawk.
Have you guys ever heard Vanilla Ice Heavy Metal album?
Yeah, absolutely.
The biscuit stuff.
Yeah. We've heard it.
Could have called it Vanilla Biscuit.
Right?
Yes. Folks, you rock. Thank you so much.
I wouldn't normally be bobbing my head to this song, but I'm just so happy I hit it. Everybody was so worried, and I knew we were going to hit it, but I didn't know I'd hit it today.
Oh.
You're supposed to be watching Dude in the back.
Right? The DJ.
With the dude in the back?
Yeah, the kid, the DJ.
Why does he not have pants on?
No, he's getting busy. And he gets a little tired of like his place in the back. Like he has a hunger for the spotlight. Oh man, I remember when that shit came out and people were like, "He's the new Elvis."
Elvis.
I hated that stuff.
And that killed his
Cool as ice. Have you ever seen that piece of shit?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I got one of my main like Mac lines from that movie, which is to say, I go up to chicks and I go, "Yo," like if I see if a lady that I desire is with a guy, I'll go up and go, "Yo, why don't you ditch the zero and get with the hero?" No, actually, I don't actually do that.
Trying to get away from the jack. Please on the scene, you know what I mean? Like that you're running over the beat. If there was a problem, yo, I'll solve it. Check out the hook with my D.
Yeah, we gotta go.
There he goes.
There we go.
Here he goes.
Come on. Get Junior up in
Let's
here.
get out of here. Word to your mother.
Word to your mother. I had to have somebody explain that to me. Like, I had a friend that was like really into rap, but like, obviously like hated Vanilla Ice. But it was like, when he says "word to your mother," what does that mean? And he was just like, "Oh, like tell your mother I said hey because like I banged her."
Well, isn't that Marky Mark's thing? Like Marky Mark, that was his whole thing. Word to your mother. Mark Wahlberg when he was doing Marky.
Oh yeah, Marky Mark. Yeah, the underwear ads.
Word to your mother.
He's the one one that taught them how to do this.
The king must have moved.
This would be way better with the Michael Myers. Have you guys seen this stuff with it's like Michael Myers doing country songs with Jason and Leatherface?
Yeah.
It's like some group. I can't Merkins?
I don't know if I could. I don't know if I could bring it up, but like I posted, retweeted on my Twitter a little clip of Art the Clown, like I guess like backstage somewhere, you know, like in the makeup area.
I saw that. I watched that.
Yeah, ain't gonna slow my stride. Ain't nothing gonna slow me down. And he starts twerking. I got to keep on moving.
When you're on set, it gets late. You know, you're working lots of crazy hours. Do any of you guys make movies?
I have in the past. I wouldn't say made movies. I've made like short films back in the Disney.
When you're shooting, it's a lot of fun. It's really it's like this is fun. We're having a live conversation here, and it's exciting. And when you're making movies or making shorts or making music videos, there's a lot of long hours, and it gets goofy. And you're all hanging out together, and that's really that's part of the fun. Like for myself, I actually had to pare down my crew a little bit because we were getting too into like getting loaded and partying while we were shooting. Really, like strip it down and like
boys
make
are
it
misbehaving.
Yeah, and the shoots would go on all night long.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. Well, I mean,
like, I don't know if you guys have seen. I do this character. It's Jason. It's Jason Myers, and he's Michael. It's Jason Voorhees's dumber little brother.
Okay.
And I've got like the hockey mask. Is the hockey mask over there, Abby? Around here? So I've got the hockey mask, but it's too small for my face. I'm wearing an outfit that's too small, and I'm upset because there's nobody left to kill in Camp Crystal Lake. It's Christmas. There's nobody there.
Aww.
And so these short films are playing on American Horrors, and they're like bumpers.
Okay.
So we do a lot of short horror films, and it's lots of fun.
I have been a bad boy because I've heard of this channel and I haven't checked it out yet, but you can be damn sure I am going to be checking that out. I am going to be adding that to the Roku upstairs, and I actually just bookmarked it down here. So yeah, I'm definitely on top of that.
And we're looking at a promo right now with Cleve Hall and Constant Hall from Sci-Fi's Monster Man, the late great Cleve Hall.
Oh wow, yeah, man, let me check that out.
Brian,
you guys are going to love this stuff. You guys really are. I'm really glad I came on the show. Brian, thank you for having me on. Pops, thank you for suggesting this. I've really had fun talking to you guys.
Well, see, that's what I was just going to say. We should probably not dip too deep into your well of knowledge and have you come back out every now and then.
Oh, dude. Yeah, no.
The well of knowledge is bottomless, ladies and gentlemen. You should. I have so many crazy stories that, think about it. I was friends with Glenn for so long. I mean, I haven't talked to Glenn since I left LA, because that's kind of the life. You run into people, different people, like did a music video for Obituary. That was a lot of fun. It's the only video that all the band members liked.
Oh, that's wow. That's got to be gratifying.
Yes. And same with Glenn. Like, okay, folks might not know. Okay, I was the editor at Perotta. Managing editor. I co-wrote A Taste of Cherry, which is banned as obscene material in Oklahoma to this day.
Damn.
Yep. And I cut for Glenn. I cut Glenn's first short horror film, She Only Likes Men. I edited one of his music videos, On a Wicked Night. And we've hung out a lot. I mean, when you start getting up in this business and you start moving up, who can you hang out with that's not going to spill the beans on Twitter? Who's not going to fuck you over and do a tell-all book for a quick bump? That's one of my problems with Kevin Smith. I have a problem with Kevin because he didn't hold his water. All the shit talking he's done, and he's betraying actors and directors and producers' confidence by doing this. So when I tell you guys a story, I'm pretty confident it's okay. The stuff that is in here that I don't tell you is the really dangerous shit.
Well,
the backstage stuff.
The illustrator on my book, Six Gun Gorilla, Preston Acevedo,
That's a great title, by the way.
he had an experience with Kevin Smith. right? What was it again? I think that like Kevin Smith didn't want to pay like the extras or something like that, or didn't want to pay Preston for something.
The extras,
and he's like, wait a second.
Yeah.
So like you're all about like screw the man, but now you're acting a lot like the man.
Yeah.
And although he kind of like, got a little bonus because the very first name that comes up on the end credits is Preston's. But yeah, he didn't have a good experience with Kevin Smith. My problem with him is, and I don't know him personally, so it's not like a personal beef. But look, if like he didn't care about He-Man, I don't care about He-Man. But if somebody came to me and said, "Hey, do you want to write a He-Man animated series?" I'd be like, "Fuck yeah!" It's it's high fantasy and everything. I'm sure there's something I could find there to get into. But the first thing I would do is
pay attention to it.
Would be to go and talk to the fans and ask them, what is it that you love about this? Because I'm not a fan. I'm coming in from outside. So I'm just like now familiarizing myself with this franchise. What is it that makes this mean so much to you, so I can make sure that that's in the finished product? And he didn't do that.
I would agree with you. I would agree with you on that because I'm a professional, right? So if you hire me to do a job like, okay, I mentioned I wrote for Chaos Comics and I worked with Brian Pulido. I've known Brian a long, long time, way before he ever got published. And same with Billy Tucci. I knew both those guys before they really got going. And I always thought they were talented, and I got lucky enough. I made a point to tell Brian, like, Brian, I want to come play in your sandbox. I want to come do stuff. And so Brian and Fran, his wife, Fran's the one who really took me seriously. I'm like, Fran, she's like, but your stuff is so out there. And I'm like, no, I like the challenge. I like the challenge of writing a professional product. And so I was hired to do Homicide. They reprinted my Poems for the Dead book. And because I'm a poet. It's funny to say that.
Yeah. No, that's cool. So was Gunnar Hansen.
Yeah.
It's funny. So, well, I'm a world-renowned poet. My poetry was sold in Hot Topic. My poetry's been sold around the world. I've done spoken word. I've given a lecture on poetry in Tokyo at a community college out there. I lectured at universities through Mexico. I've done spoken word for, it's 30 years now. And I have 2 collections of poetry published, and we did pretty well with them. And now I'm bringing them back into print. They're going to be coming back into print. One of the add-ons to this Dahmer campaign, and I would highly recommend the add-ons. Get the Garbage Man DVD, get Still Dead, because the Still Dead add-on here is my second collection of poetry, and it's the original printing from 1998. They're still in the boxes I got from Brenner Printing in 1998. I came back to my Midwest stronghold, and it's in the original packaging, man. So it's like buying them brand new.
Right.
That's so cool, dude. Oh, that is awesome. Yeah. Now let me.
It's affordable. I make this stuff affordable instead of jacking it up because I want readers. Like Pops, you made a good point about.
Yes.
I get caught up on the variant covers because I'm like, I want more readership. I want readers. That's important to me.
Dude, I've done one variant cover. Right. I mean, whenever I put out like my original trade paperback, for a new campaign, I'll give it a new cover because I'm just like, well, that differentiates the printings and everything like that. And, I'm not saying variant covers are double dipping, but even doing one variant cover to me felt like double dipping. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like it's about one thing, and that's getting your book into as many hands as possible.
That's how I feel about it. And with the Dahmer book, I felt it was important. Like, okay, the young Jeffrey Dahmer book only had a 4,000 print run. It wasn't huge, so it's very rare. So I thought that was a good one, a variant cover.
I have that somewhere. That's in a long box somewhere. I'm telling you, dude. I'm gonna have to dig that shit up.
I drew the cover to that one too. A lot of people forget I'm an artist. They forget that I'm an artist. Like when you watch American
filmmaker, it's the dude.
He's on that big table in the video. That's a big spread.
You're a
used to have him.
Renaissance man, brother. And, real quick, not to derail this conversation, but I just like I'm feeling festive.
You got to show the twerking, don't you?
Yes, but also, like I said, I'm feeling festive that we got your book
I
funded.
hit my goal. I'm so blown away. I'm so thankful.
Thank you, folks. Yeah, so am I. Thank you, folks. But yeah, you gotta see the shit. Is the audio coming through?
No.
Oh, God damn it. Be down. Here, I'll sing. I got to keep on moving.
That's Workifier, dude.
I don't know why. I saw this this morning, and it just made me like ridiculously happy for some reason.
That movie was pretty epic. That second Terrifier.
That's right. You watched it, didn't you? What did you think?
I thought it was good. It wasn't what I expected too. That's what I like.
Yeah.
And the ending for the first one wasn't what I expected to, and I like the ending, and then I like the ending to this too. I don't want to spoil it, but it goes into fantastical dark fantasy. And but that was a cool jump.
Yeah, without a doubt, and I mean, it could have lost about like 20 minutes to a half an hour, but pretty much every movie these days could lose about a half an hour.
I just wanted to say,
it was really good though.
I just wanted to say, if the show goes past 11, anybody that still wants to be watching this, jump over to Brian's channel, because my channels will all be switching over to the Silverline show at 11 o'clock.
We will be wrapping this up because we also want to talk to Hart in the back room, naturally. And
sooner or later, guys, I'm gonna have to make my woman food. My woman's sitting
we
here.
understand.
Like I've got a big kitty cat here. A big D cup blonde is waiting to be fed.
Oh, dude. Yeah, no, we will let you go, sir. We will let you go momentarily. But I'm
having fun though. I'm just letting you know, like I can't be on here for 5 hours.
Of course not. No, we understand. And also, if you like, I can add you to the DM group. Every week, I just post the link to the show, and we're casual. That's to say, you come on when you feel like coming on. And if
we're
you
doing a
don't
movie
come on,
that
we're not going to
talk
look
about,
at you funny. Do you know what I'm saying? So like and then if you're just like, I don't want to be on this group, and you just like remove yourself from the group, I'm not gonna get all butthurt or anything like that. We're just like we got a chill community here.
Okay, good.
Is what I'm saying. Okay, ideas. What should we watch next week?
Okay, you mean like horror film?
Yeah,
but here's
the show.
But it has to be like this is the one rule. It has to be something that's not on a behind a paywall. So that way we always have the link to the movie in the description. So people are like, "Oh, that movie's dope." I mean, Tubi has got like everything right now. So they got Exorcist 2. I remember wanting to
watch that.
2.
I mean, pretty soon.
I'm gonna say Girl Next. Everybody at home, go watch Girl Next. It is on Tubi. The filmmaker's angry.
Okay.
The filmmaker is pissed because it's an amazing fucking film. It's so goddamn good.
Okay.
Oh my God, it's really good. And it's on Tubi, and it was dumped on Tubi with no celebration, no ads, no nothing. It was one of our best. In fact, it might have been, wasn't it best feature of last year, Abby? Of the film festival? Yeah, it was our best feature film from last year's American Horror Film Festival.
There you
and
go.
then I would also recommend Bad Candy. I'm not sure if it's behind a paywall or not, but Bad Candy's a horror anthology that's super tight. It was so good, my mom watched it 2 nights in a row, and she's not a horror fan.
Oh, wow. Damn. Actually, both of those are on Tubi.
There you go.
Okay, there you go. So Bad Candy, Girl Next, and then
don't go on then, because I think we got the 3rd and the 10th already. We already have the first 2 weeks of the new year set up. We got Margene Holden from Vampires, from John Carpenter's Vampires. She was one of the major vampire queens or whatever. She's going to be here on the show for that one.
Yeah.
And we got Lucifer Storm going to come out, I think, on the 10th, right? I think.
That goddamn Brit.
Yeah. But
Goddamn lies.
if you want to do those for the next two, that takes us out of this year, and we have the first two for the next year. That
Okay. All right.
I've seen Vampires. I've seen that a ton of times. I saw it at the movie theater.
Oh, well, dude, you're absolutely, of course, welcome to hop on that stream or any stream that we do, because you're one of us, dude.
Yeah.
One of us. Google gobble, Google gobble. And everybody in the chat, thank you so much for hanging out. We really do appreciate you. Once again, go back Hart's campaign.
Thanks for getting them over the bump. We appreciate it.
Yeah, you folks are the shit. You folks are the shit. We love you. Okay. All right. We'll talk to you. We'll talk to you next week. So until then, peace, love, and metal.